Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. We got Alabama, we got Ohio State, we got Justin Fields, we got Mac Jones. It's NFL Pro Day, Ohio State and Alabama. Happy Tuesday. I hope everyone is having a fantastic morning. Hop in the room and join your boy as we watch on NFL Network Path to the Draft, where we can talk about guys like Justin Fields. How good is he going to be? We can talk about guys like Mac Jones. It sounds like Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith may not be participating, but we get a lot of Justin Fields. We get a lot of Mac Jones, but most importantly, we get Najee Harris, and I want to really see what he's about because it sounds like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, may be interested in Najee Harris or Travis Etienne from Clemson. So I want a running back. I want to see where it goes, but I hope everyone is having a great Tuesday. And I'm excited. I was really hoping that Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle would be running around and, getting some routes in so we could see more work on them. We even, we kind of know what they're going to be about. But I hope everyone is having a fantastic Tuesday. And I hope everyone is being safe out there. I mean, like I said, we're still in this kind of COVID protocol, but we're getting closer and closer to the NFL draft, which is very exciting. So I hope everyone is locked and loaded, getting ready. Like I said, this is going to be one of those games coming up where we get into the NFL season. This is going to be one of those seasons, one of these opportunities for these quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers to really show out and to, are they going to be first-round talent? Are they going to be guys that are going to get drafted in the first round but possibly be, a second, third round, maybe disappointment? We're going to have to kind of wait and see, but I am definitely excited in Justin Fields and Mac Jones. Obviously, we all know, Trey Lance is going to be in the mix at that number 3 pick as well. We know typically it's going to be like a Trevor Lawrence, and then we're going to be going into the Zach Wilson, more than likely for the Jags and the Jets, unless something crazy happens. And there's going to be people looking at quarterback like the Denver Broncos, the Chicago Bears. You're going to be looking at the Carolina Panthers. There's going to be a lot of those that are going to be available as well. But again, let's talk some NFL. Alabama and Ohio State Pro Days. Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Najee Harris. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either on here, patreon.com/NWSF, or the GoFundMe. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram at NW Sports Fanatics. So if you're in the room, holla at me, let me know that you're in the building. And like I said, did the Monday morning stream for about 4 hours yesterday. Then I previewed and debuted what the new look is going to be for the MLB going into Thursday on opening day. But I'm very interested in this pro day for Ohio State and Alabama. Specifically, there may be some players that Tampa Bay is going to be looking at. Maybe a Mac Jones slips in the draft. I don't think Tampa's going to be able to get him, at pick 32. I don't think he's going to last that long. Definitely teams are going to be looking to trade up, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers may be interested. The Saints may be interested. The Denver Broncos may be interested in a Mac Jones. The Panthers may be interested. It all really depends on where some of these guys are going to end up falling. Justin Fields could be number 3, going to where? The San Francisco 49ers, or it could be a guy like Trey Lance. I mean, that's kind of what we're thinking. We don't really know if Mac Jones is worthy of the 3rd pick overall. I'm not really thinking that, but it's going to be very interesting to see, and that's why these pro days to some people aren't that important. I mean, I love watching college tape. I like watching pro days. I love watching the combine. I love watching training camp. I love watching preseason, believe it or not. I love watching the NFL matchups, the regular season, the playoffs, AFC, NFC championship games, Super Bowl. Who doesn't love that shit, right? But watching all the little things getting up to this point is very important because, like I said, some people think it may not matter, but it gives you kind of a gauge an idea, based on the tape that you've already watched, but how are they going to throw on their pro day? Are they going to make a good impression? We're not going to be able to really see all the ins and the outs because I'm not there. I'm not sitting there on the sideline with some of these evaluators and coaches, but it definitely gives me a gauge. Brian in the building. He said, who do you think the Niners pick with their 3rd pick overall? That's a great question. What my gut tells me, and what my heart tells me, obviously, as we know, it's not going to be Mac Jones. I'm not saying that Mac Jones from Alabama is a bad quarterback. I don't think that he is. He's been surrounded by a lot of talent. He could be one of those stories that is kind of like a Tom Brady-ish story. He's not going to get picked, in the 6th or 7th round. Good morning, Vietnam. Brett Fuge in the building. What to do? Baseball season is just right around the corner, my guy, and I can't wait to be able to do some Red Sox, Dodgers, Mariner games for the season, and I know I got a chance for you to check out what's going on. But this pro day is going to be super exciting because with the 3rd pick overall, we pretty much know Trevor Lawrence is going 1 with Urban Meyer to the Jags. That's the safest pick. Then you're going to end up going number 2 with Zach Wilson, which I think is going to be arguably the best quarterback in this draft overall. Trevor Lawrence should be the best quarterback, obviously with all the intangibles and everything that he does, but he does struggle in the big games, and that kind of concerns me, like I've mentioned in the last few, streams that I've done. I just don't know if he's going to be able to come up in the clutch. I don't think he's going to be a bust whatsoever. But being picked number 2 overall, instead of having that pressure at be at number 1, you're going to have Urban Meyer, you're going to have Shark at wide receiver, you're going to have good players around you. It's going to take a couple years for that team to be very, very good, in my opinion. Probably 2 to 5 years, really, to be able to get the right players to come in, unless they hit on these next 2 drafts and get people to come in, free agency-wise and want to play with Trevor Lawrence. But Zach Wilson is the most accurate from BYU, who is going to go to the Jets number 2. He's got the strongest arm. He reminds me a little bit of Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers. Maybe not that talented as those two, but you never know. And like I said, he's going to have the hardest, opportunity to shine just because he's going to be on the Jets. And then they don't really have a whole lot there, but they do have Robert Saleh, the 49ers D coordinator, who I love. This guy is a grinder. He's a blue-collar guy. Work hard, play hard. You're not going to be able to talk shit back to him. You're going to be disciplined. And I think that the Jets can get on the map. Obviously with Jacksonville, they have more weapons to be short-term better, faster, right? But depending on the Deshaun Watson, story, if he stays on Houston or not, maybe Deshaun Watson gets traded for Zach Wilson and some, extra picks and extra compensation. But no matter what happens with Zach Wilson, whether he ends up staying with the Jets, bad opportunity, or going to the worst franchise in the NFL right now, the Houston Texans, where it's just a fucking clusterfuck of not being able to keep DeAndre Hopkins or J.J. Watt or keeping anyone. Nobody wants to go there, okay? Nobody wants to go to the Houston Texans. But out of those 2 teams, right, I think I would probably want to play with Saleh and the Jets, and I hope that they don't do any kind of trades for Deshaun Watson. Let him figure out if he's going to sit out or, go to another team next season, whatever he decides to do. He's got a lot of these sexual allegations going against him, so you're going to have to hit pause, especially if you're going to bring a guy like that to New York. That might not fly very well, being in the media and the spotlight. But if anyone can handle the spotlight in New York, right, whether it's the Giants or the Jets, Zach Wilson, I feel, definitely can do it. So I think that he's got the strongest arm. He's got the best accuracy. I feel he's got the best flick of the wrist. I feel that he's got all the intangibles, even better than Trevor Lawrence. And I normally would never say that unless I've watched the tape. I know he went to BYU. He didn't, play on Clemson. ACC competition sometimes is up, sometimes down. Usually Trevor Lawrence beat up on the great teams, that were in the division, right? But that's not really saying a whole lot. We want you to beat the great teams in the bowl games. We want you to play great against Alabama, Trevor Lawrence, when you're on Clemson. We want you to play against LSU and Georgia and all the big dogs. We want you to play on that high level, and some of the ACC teams aren't really on that top tier level. And then as you go to, Zach Wilson, BYU doesn't have a lot of competition, but from what I've seen on film, he seems like he could be the best quarterback overall. But it also depends on coach, owner, leadership, who's calling the plays, who do you have on the roster that's going to help you, right away. So, again, I think Zach Wilson is going to be the best quarterback out of this draft completely overall. It could be Trevor Lawrence. They could be right there neck and neck, and it's going to really take a lot of swag and a lot of moxie and a lot of confidence, because it might take a couple years for Zach Wilson really to get his name out there, unless he just blows it out of the water with the crappy talent that they have around there, if they can buy in to Robert Saleh and the Jets and what they're doing. But the number 3 pick, Brian in the building. The Niners, I really do feel people are leaning towards Justin Fields or Trey Lance. I've heard some people think that maybe it could be a surprise pick in Mac Jones. I don't think it's going to be Mac Jones. To me, I feel it's going to be Trey Lance. I think Justin Fields could be a good fit there. Ohio State quarterbacks typically don't pan out, as we've seen with Dwayne Haskins and a lot of the other, former quarterbacks at the Ohio State University. But I do think Justin Fields could pan out on a team like Denver, a team like Carolina. There's other opportunities there where, you're going to be able to get some good numbers. But whoever goes there, whether it's Justin Fields, Mac Jones, or Trey Lance, it's a Kyle Shanahan system. So if you're in a Kyle Shanahan system, you're going to be able to pan out. Look at Jimmy G. Jimmy G is average, and they got to a Super Bowl with all the great supporting cast. So you can kind of hide some of the flaws that you have at quarterback, right? When you have a system like Kyle Shanahan, when you have a good running game, you have a good O-line, you got a good defense, even though Robert Saleh is not going to be there since he's the head coach of the Jets. So this is going to be interesting for me to kind of gauge and watch. I think Justin Fields definitely has some skills, just like Mac Jones. Trey Lance is raw. He hasn't had a lot of years under his belt, but I think for play action, bootleg, everything, accuracy, I would rather go with Trey Lance and build him rather than going with Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields could still be a good quarterback as well, but that's my gut, Brian. I'm thinking Trey Lance is going to be picked number 3 overall with the Niners. I would feel the most comfortable picking that particular player in that Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch offense. Crystal Hayes said, only you can get me up this early. 2 likes. Hello, Chad. Hello, Ryan. What to do? Okay, who's going to fall to the 12th spot? What you're hoping for if you're an Eagles fan at the 12th spot. So you were at number 6, so you could have been where Kyle Pitts was at. You could have been where, some of these guys like Jamar Chase was at, right, from LSU. But you're probably hoping that Devontae Smith, the guy that won the Heisman at wide receiver for Alabama, that is really where you're hoping that he falls. I feel that, getting a nice, solid wide receiver, of course, you're going to need help on the offensive line. You're going to need help at tight end, getting another one to replace Zach Ertz, even though you got Dallas Goedert there. You're going to need defensive help. But getting a stud wide receiver, even though he's a little undersized, a little light on the weight, that's where I'm thinking that they're hoping that he falls. More than likely, he'll go top 10, but if somehow he falls to 12, that's going to be the ideal pick, in my opinion, for the Philadelphia Eagles. Get someone that Jalen Hurts can throw to and have a connection. You can't have a connection with guys like just Dallas Goedert. Ward had a pretty good season, last year filling in. But obviously with Alshon Jeffrey on the way out and Zach Ertz on the way out, you're going to need some new guys to come in and get the work done and get the job done. Anthony Manzano in the building. NWSF, in your honest opinion, which quarterback fits best in the Joe Brady offense in Carolina? Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, or Mac Jones? I think literally Zach Wilson can go in any system. He's the one to me that I feel out of all those guys, he could be ideally, if Zach Wilson was on the 49ers, that would be the most ideal fit because you're going to have all the weapons and you're going to have an amazing play caller, okay? But in the Carolina Panthers, I like what I see there. All right, I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, as you obviously know and as you can see. But I think that the Carolina Panthers aren't that far away after they move on from Teddy Two Gloves. So I think that Trey Lance would be fantastic there, right? I think Justin Fields could be fantastic there. I'm not thinking really Mac Jones would be that much of a fit in that particular offense for Joe Brady. Carolina needs someone that can run play action and bootleg kind of the same way the San Francisco 49ers. The offenses are different, right? You got Run CMC, and you're going to have some different weapons. DJ Moore, there's going to be certain guys. We obviously know Curtis Samuel is no longer there, joining the Washington football team over there with Scary Terry McLaurin. So there's going to be a kind of a rebuild process, right? But if we can get Run CMC healthy, a quarterback's best friend is an excellent running game and a great O-line. So as long as you can keep building the O-line, get some more depth on defense, spite of Brian Burns, I love him on the defensive side. But I'm thinking, Zach Wilson, there's no way that Carolina is going to get there unless they trade up to number 2 overall. All right, and I don't think with the draft capital that you guys have, that's not really an option. So Zach Wilson would be the best fit out of those guys, but he's not going to be available. The Jets are picking him number 2. Sam Darnold will find a new home. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to find a new home, and they're going to go somewhere else. So for me, I think Trey Lance is going to end up going, number 3 to the Niners. But if they go Justin Fields, right, and you get Trey Lance, vice versa, whatever quarterback the Niners or the Panthers select, it's going to be Trey Lance or Justin Fields, in my opinion. Those are the 2 guys that you're going to be looking at. They're very similar. I kind of like Trey Lance's upside a little bit more. Justin Fields with his accuracy, some games he looks fantastic. Some games, not so much. I'm not sure if he just has the skill set to be the leader of a team, especially with the past history of all those Ohio State quarterbacks that have failed. Some of the Ohio State quarterbacks have had to switch positions to wide receiver, that they just couldn't get it done. So it's a system quarterback in the Ohio State Buckeyes system in the Big Ten. So that kind of concerns me. But this could be the first guy, Justin Fields, that breaks the mold. I can say, hey, you know, I went to Ohio State. I'm a QB, but I'm a little bit different than some of these other guys in the past. But remember Dwayne Haskins, he threw like fucking 50 touchdown passes, and he probably can't even start in the NFL. So that makes me a little concerned. I mean, Mac Jones would have to have a lot of supporting cast. Justin Fields would have to have a lot of supporting cast. Even Trey Lance would have to have supporting cast. The only two guys I feel that wouldn't need as much supporting cast to succeed right away is the raw talent of who? Zach Wilson, who I feel is the best quarterback in this draft, and then Trevor Lawrence right behind him. And it's not like I think that Trevor Lawrence is garbage. I think Trevor Lawrence could be a Pro Bowl quarterback. I think Zach Wilson could be a Pro Bowl quarterback. Now, it's very possible that Trevor Lawrence ends up succeeding a lot quicker because you got Urban Meyer, you got a lot more weapons around you on the team. I like Robert Saleh as a head coach, but I mean, when your best weapon last year was fucking Jamison Crowder and the defense is shit and the organization isn't in a good spot, it's going to take time. So you might see Zach Wilson and his numbers not be that great year one. You might have Trey Lance, Justin Fields, all these other quarterbacks, Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence. You might have all those other four quarterbacks have better numbers initially just because he's in the worst spot. If you're playing on the Jets or the Houston Texans with a trade with Deshaun Watson, Zach Wilson, no matter where he goes, based on those two spots, he's going to have the hardest time to be able to really make a name for himself. But I think his raw talent with his arm, his accuracy, everything that he brings to the game, that's what's going to have him level up and catch up to Mac Jones and Justin Fields and Trey Lance and even Trevor Lawrence, because he can zip that football. He's smart, he's accurate, and he's got a strong arm. So, I mean, if you got a strong arm, kind of like Josh Allen had, Lamar Jackson, gave you that two-way threat. Right? Baker Mayfield, had that swag and that moxie. Sam Darnold had some good, games at USC, but he didn't really pan out because he had no weapons around him. Now, if you ended up putting Sam Darnold, last season on a team like the Browns, how much more or less would you have gotten, from Sam Darnold if Sam Darnold was healthy? If you put Sam Darnold on the Bills, how much more or less would you have gotten than Josh Allen? Josh Allen has the arm and has more raw talent. But let's not get it twisted. If Sam Darnold would have been put on a different team, the Ravens, the Browns, or the Buffalo Bills, that actually have defense, offensive line, and better coaching, I don't think Sam Darnold would be considered kind of a flop or not that good of a player. You're only as good as the coaches and players that are around you. So if Sam Darnold ended up going to like New England, Marcus Mariota went to New England, I think that these guys could revitalize their career kind of like Ryan Tannehill did, with the Tennessee Titans. He had to find his home and be a kind of a traveler. We've seen that with Brad Johnson from my Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the past, Rich Gannon. Sometimes you have to go from team to team until you find the right fit, but that's my personal opinion there, Anthony. I think Justin Fields and Trey Lance would be the best fit in Carolina because Zach Wilson would not be available. I don't see Mac Jones being a fit. Zach Wilson's a fit anywhere he goes. Trevor Lawrence is a fit anywhere he goes. But realistically, I think Justin Fields might be the best one for Carolina, in my opinion. I think Trey Lance is the best fit for the 49ers, in my opinion. Do you think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to draft another quarterback? No, because you need to have weapons for your quarterback. Jalen Hurts is there. Carson Wentz is in Indianapolis. He's on the Colts. Well, let's hope that he has a great season. But, if with Alshon Jeffrey and a lot of the wide receivers either injured or moving on, Zach Ertz moving on. You got Dallas Goedert, but you need to have a true number one wide receiver. So at some point, defense is a concern, offensive line. You're going to have to find another tight end to pair up with Dallas Goedert because they obviously like a two tight end set. But no, there is no possibility. Philadelphia is going to blow up. If they end up going for like Mac Jones at 12, you're just going to put yourself in a quarterback controversy. Do you really want to have the same thing that happened to Carson Wentz with Jalen Hurts, him looking over his shoulder, thinking if I fuck up, this guy's going in? So what you want, Mac Jones, sitting there and having that fan base, thinking, oh, is Mac Jones getting in? Is it Jalen Hurts? You definitely want to go for the best player available, and there's going to be a lot of great talent at 12. So if it's me and I'm Philadelphia, I'm going wide receiver with the 12th pick overall, and you're hoping that Devontae Smith, the Heisman winner from Alabama, is there. That could be a great relationship, with them. Or Jalen Waddle from Alabama. Obviously, I was hoping to watch these guys in their pro day today, but these guys are studs. I think Jamar Chase from LSU is going to be the best wide receiver, right? He's got a lot of talent, just like Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts arguably might be the best player in this draft overall, the tight end from the University of Florida. But I assume that, with guys like that, like Kyle Pitts, guys like Jamar Chase, they're going to be gone within the first 8 picks. So those guys are not going to be available, when you're picking at 12. Unless you trade up, but you already traded back to get the compensation. So Anthony Manzano, I'm a Dolphins fan, so I'm wondering, this is my dream scenario for them draft picks at 6 and then draft Pitts at 6 and then draft Bateman at 18. What is your opinion? Yeah, Kyle Pitts could definitely be, I love his skill set and his talent. I love Jamar Chase, but I honestly feel like Penei Sewell could be a Hall of Fame offensive lineman from my Oregon Ducks at tackle. He's going to be the next big real thing. I think that's, a lock to really help, Joe Burrow on the blind side, right? But I think overall, if you're looking at talent, Kyle Pitts could be the best player in this draft. Overall, he's that fucking talented. I'm thinking for you, if you're a Dolphins fan, Kyle Pitts, if he's there, I'm not sure if he's going to be there at 6. Maybe someone tries to draft him at 4. I'm not sure if the Falcons would draft him at 4 or someone would trade up for him. But I'm thinking Jamar Chase from LSU, that would be the natural spot to get yourself another wide receiver. But if you ended up going Pitts, I don't think anyone would care because Pitts is a tight end, but you can line him up at wide receiver. And then Bateman at 18, that could be a dream scenario as well. But you're definitely going to want Pitts or Jamar Chase at 6. I wouldn't be looking at anybody else. If I'm a Dolphins fan, you want someone to help Tua progress. You want someone that Tua can have a bond with, and then you can decide after this season, since Ryan Fitzmagic is on the Washington football team and he's no longer, as the backup to rescue Tua Tagovailoa, if Tua's not the guy after this season, right, and you want to draft next year, you have so much draft capital, first round, second round, third round for 2021. 2022, 2023. If we're talking about you guys hitting on your draft picks and you hit 70%, of your draft picks there, we're talking about the Dolphins being one of the best teams in the AFC sooner than later, winning the division sometime, probably in the next 5 years, and it's very possible if they draft correctly with all these draft picks and depending on if they hit on them and get free agents, it wouldn't surprise me if the Dolphins hit an AFC championship game in the next 6-7 years. It could be as soon as a couple years, depending on the development of Tua, but it all depends on Flores if they can hit on these draft picks. The next 3 years are going to be very critical to see how they compete with New England and what they do in the lineup as long as Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels are there, and then keeping up with the top dogs, the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, and that amazing fan base with Sean McDermott and Bills Mafia. But I think the Dolphins' future is very, very bright. They have the best position based off draft capital out of any team in the NFL for the next 3 years. So like I said, if you hit on 70% of those, maybe 12 or 13 high draft picks the next 3 years, watch out. The Dolphins are going to be a force, and I think that they could have made the playoffs last year. So just imagine when they get that much more talent and you get a lot more people coming in, free agency-wise that want to play for Flores. So, being a Dolphins fan, man, things are looking up. I know you might have loved that Dan Marino era. Things are going to get a lot better for you as we move forward, and that's big facts. Let's see here. So how do you feel about Ryan Fitzmagic going to Washington? Crystal is talking to Anthony. He said, I don't really care. He's not going to make the playoffs this year. He's going to give me a big bridge quarterback for whatever quarterback Washington ends up drafting. Washington, the football team, I could definitely see them, winning the division. They have talent on defense with Chase Young. They got running backs, wide receivers, Scary Terry McLaurin. You got Curtis Samuel. So I think Fitzmagic could lead them to the playoffs, and they could end up winning the division by winning 10 games or more. I would like to have Fitzmagic still in Miami personally, so that way it could help you, see, if Tua can't get it done, at least you have a guy that, might get you to the playoffs. But, you're going to live and die with Tua for now, and you're going to find out if he really is good enough to lead the franchise. But I'll tell you what, I know Dolphins fans are probably really kicking themselves, right, and not listening to your boy, O-Dog, saying Justin Herbert could be the best quarterback in this draft. Justin Herbert, from the 503 here in my hometown in Oregon, Eugene, Oregon, where I watched him play in the front row. Joe Burrow is great. right? And Joe Burrow might end up being a Hall of Fame quarterback or Pro Bowl quarterback, but I think Justin Herbert overall has got a little bit higher ceiling than even Joe Burrow, which is saying a lot, which, he had one of the best seasons at LSU in college football history, and I think that both quarterbacks are going to be great. Tua's kind of a project. Burrow and Herbert look like they can be Pro Bowl quarterbacks and, be faces of the NFL sooner than later. So if the Dolphins would have ended up picking up Justin Herbert, imagine where you would be right now. But that's what happens sometimes. But even though you didn't hit on that pick, right, you still have a lot of draft compensation to catch up and get the right guy after Tua if it's not the right person. Cash out in the building. What to do? Message from an Eagle. What up, Ryan at NWSF? I'm at work grinding and sneaking the chat. That's what I'm talking about, baby. He said, fuck Howie Roseman. Enough said. He'll blow this draft again. I kind of have a bad feeling that he might end up doing that as well. I don't know. It doesn't seem like he might be able to pick the right guys at the right time. Anthony says, when you look at Liam Eichenberg from Notre Dame, do you see him more as a left tackle or right tackle at the next level? That's a good question. It all depends on who you already have at left tackle or right tackle. Maybe when you get guys on the offensive line like Penei Sewell as well, his natural position is left tackle, but you can put him at right tackle as well. I mean, obviously left tackle, if your quarterback's right-handed, that's your blind side. If you have a guy like Tua, then you'd want to put him on the right side because he's a left-handed quarterback. But I think that he could play either side. When you got a guy that's versatile like that, like Liam or Penei Sewell, they can do it all, and that's big facts. Cash out hybrid. So the man Kyle Pitts is fast like a wide receiver, got size of a tight end. Now that's crazy. And I'm telling you, he could be the modern day George Kittle. I mean, Travis Kelce is decently quick. Kittle, when healthy, is a little bit faster. But I honestly feel Kyle Pitts could end up being the third best tight end overall, or top 5. It's going to be Travis Kelce, George Kittle, right? Those are kind of the guys. It used to be Zach Ertz, but he's kind of gotten older and fallen out of the top 5, numbers. Darren Waller, Mark Andrews, and I think Kyle Pitts, he could really join the top 5 right away. He is that good. He doesn't drop footballs. He's excellent at route running. He's got a big body. I mean, he could end up being the best tight end or wide receiver. Imagine how good you would have to be like, get the recognition as a Tony Gonzalez, type of, tight end, a Travis Kelce, a George Kittle. You're going to have to be very, very good. And obviously, if you watched any University of Florida Gators highlights on tape, I'm not sure if I've seen anyone in recent history that gives me kind of the hair standing up on my arms and on my neck like Kyle Pitts, because Jamar Chase is going to be kind of like a more than likely Justin Jefferson kind of talent. He's going to be able to ball out wherever he goes from LSU. He looks like he's going to ball out. Devontae Smith, might be like a Jerry Jeudy where it might take time depending on what the quarterback situation is, right? But he could still be a good player. But this guy, Kyle Pitts, though, I'm telling you, at tight end, to be top 5 tight end when you just go into the league and you're playing fantasy football, I think that Kyle Pitts is a guy that could get you over 1,000 yards, just like that. Could be a guy that can get you 5 to 12 touchdowns his first season. He's going to be a force. I haven't really seen anyone as talented as Kyle Pitts at the tight end position, probably since like a George Kittle, Travis Kelce. I mean, I like Mark Andrews and Darren Waller a lot, but I think that Pitts could be better than those two, and that's saying a lot. I mean, I think he could be right there with Travis Kelce and George Kittle, and more than likely, if George Kittle can stay healthy, he'll probably be a Hall of Famer at the end of his career. Travis Kelce is a first-ballot Hall of Famer. Can Darren Waller be a Hall of Famer? He's not there yet, but he's great. He's definitely making a name for himself, transitioning, from wide receiver to tight end and having the drug issues and getting his life, back on track. Mark Andrews is a great tight end, and, he's Pro Bowl type of talent, and he might end up being a Hall of Fame tight end when it's all said and done, just depending on how he progresses with Lamar Jackson. He's a great tight end as well, so we're going to have to kind of wait and see. Anthony says, Ryan, actually, before the draft happened last year, I go on the Dolphins YouTube channels who do live streams. I was on the table for Justin Herbert, and they were laughing at me. And the thing is, a lot of people are haters, because if they don't watch Northwest Sports, I'm out here in Oregon. I watch Justin Herbert front row. Okay, you get a guy who's intelligent, right? No injuries, super smart, 4.0 GPA. Doesn't really drink or do drugs or get in trouble, right? He's a class act. He's a student of the game, right? Great teammate, right? And I used to watch him, front row, right behind the Oregon Ducks bench, in Eugene to be able to really see, what he's about. He can make all the throws. He can make the deep route. He could do the go route. He could do the post route. He could do the in route. He could do the out route. The only question about, Justin Herbert was, if this guy, goes to the NFL, when he played tough competition, let's say like USC, a team that maybe had a pretty good defense, sometimes he can make that 40-yard post with double coverage perfect on a dime. And you're like, wow, right? But then he ends up throwing a 5-yard out, and he throws it 10 yards over the wide receiver's head. So sometimes that got us Oregon Duck fans and fans of him a little frustrated. Can he pick it up? And he was in a shotgun, kind of offense. He never really ran under center. So there's people doubting him, but based off his size, his intelligence, everything that he could, I mean, I kind of had a feeling that he could be the best quarterback, but you have to develop. He had a horrible head coach, Anthony Lynn, but you had a guy like Keenan Allen that could help him show out and show his skill set. And like I said, sometimes people don't see the talent or they don't see the big picture. It's also like the same thing with Josh Allen, right? We saw Baker Mayfield. We saw Sam Darnold. We saw Lamar Jackson. These guys were getting a little bit more love than Josh Allen. Josh Allen went to the small school. He went to Wyoming. He had the big arm, but his accuracy was kind of shit, right? But you could see the talent in him running the football, leaping, over defenders, stiff arming. He had some intangibles that Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold couldn't do, and maybe the only other guy that could do similar things is Lamar Jackson. And so even though Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson went a little bit lower, most people in the NFL right now as fans think that those guys are a lot better, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, than Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, more pocket quarterbacks. Baker can scramble a little bit, but as far as accuracy is concerned, you bring in a guy like Stephon Diggs, right? And look at the difference that it made. If you get a true number one receiver, it definitely makes the stats go up quite a bit. And if Justin Herbert, that might have been one of the big mistakes that the Miami Dolphins may not ever be able to recover from long term unless they end up getting someone to replace Tua. I'm not really sure if Tua's the guy long term, if he's going to be the one that, is going to be able to lead them to the promised land. We'll have to wait and see. Give him this year and next year. You got to give him a couple years, as they surround more talent around him. I think that he's got potential, but I don't know if he's ever going to be as good as Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert. I doubt it. He's going to be a guy that could be a good quarterback, but I don't think he'll ever be a Pro Bowl quarterback or a Super Bowl quarterback unless they get the right pieces around him, and he can work really hard in developing. We don't see a lot of left-handed quarterbacks. I do root for them. Steve Young, Michael Vick, Boomer Esiason. Over the years, we've seen some lefties that I absolutely love, right? But Tua's going to need help. He's not going to be able to do it on his own. Justin Herbert and Burrow have a little bit more raw talent and a little bit more arm strength, and obviously Burrow's got the injury. Tua had the injury with the hip, and he's a little injury-prone, but I wouldn't count him out just yet. But like I said, I'm used to people clowning on Oregon players. We had Justin Herbert, and so people thought he would be like Marcus Mariota or Dennis Dixon or Joey Harrington, a guy that just couldn't do it. But if you looked at Herbert's size and his strength and his running ability and his intelligence and all the intangibles that he could do, he's got one of the strongest arms in the NFL. If you watched games last season with Justin Herbert, have you seen any other quarterback, right, under pressure, throw with such accuracy like Justin Herbert? I would say the only other one that I've seen that has been that accurate under pressure, maybe Patrick Mahomes. And some of the throws that Herbert made were even better than some of the throws that I've seen from Patrick Mahomes under pressure. Patrick Mahomes under pressure is probably the best, but Justin Herbert, you could argue as a first-year quarterback, I don't know if I've ever seen anyone ball out like that with limited talent. Obviously on defense because, Derwin James was injured and they didn't really have everything there. You had Keenan Allen, which is one of the top 6 wide receivers in the NFL, very underrated. But we'll see where the Dolphins go. It's a bright future for the Chargers and the Dolphins. I definitely see them both getting to playoffs sooner than later. Comparison for Kyle Pitts is Rob Gronkowski. Do you agree? Maybe even more athletic than Rob Gronkowski. Kyle Pitts is kind of like I don't even know how to really describe him. He's one of those guys. He's got the George Kittle speed, right? And then he's got, a little bit of Travis Kelce, George Kittle. He's got a little Mark Andrews. He's got a little Gronk in him. But then he gives you something that those other guys don't really give you besides George Kittle. He gives you speed. His hands are fucking phenomenal. A little Shannon Sharp in him, a little Tony Gonzalez. I'm not really sure if, Kyle Pitts is like any of these other tight ends that we've seen in the league before. Personally, it's crazy. What team will pick Kyle Pitts in your opinion? Well, if Kyle Pitts is sitting at 4 to Atlanta, you can't go wrong there getting the next Tony Gonzalez. But if someone wants to trade up and get a Kyle Pitts, you can definitely do that. Like if they want to trade up and grab him, you can do that. Or if a team wants to trade up to 4 at Atlanta, right? and get a quarterback like Justin Fields, and then Kyle Pitts goes down. I mean, there's a lot of teams that could benefit from having that, because you got to think Kyle Pitts is not just a tight end. You can put him at wide receiver on the outside or in the slot. I mean, he's that fucking talented. So whoever gets him is going to get a gem. And like I said, Penei Sewell, offensive tackle from Oregon, could be a Hall of Famer. You know, Kyle Pitts, as long as he doesn't get injured, he's going to be the next big thing. He might even be bigger than Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith or any of the wide receivers. As far as offensive players that aren't quarterback, he might end up being the best one overall in this draft, and maybe even better than Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson or Justin Fields or Trey Lance or Mac Jones. It shows you how great this kid really is. I love this guy, man. He's awesome. So to me, I feel that Justin Herbert's going to be like a Dan Marino in the sense that he's going to have a lot of talent around him, but he's never going to win the big one. It all depends on coaching. You know, it all depends on, you know, the running back. They got Eckler. They got, you know, you got some weapons there, you know. And the thing is it all depends on the offensive line, the defense, and obviously Melvin Ingram is gone. Casey Hayward is gone in free agency right now. So it all depends on the defense, the coaching, the ownership. But I do think Herbert, he may not be able to win the big one, but, I mean, I wouldn't count that out. You never know. It's like the Dolphins, too. You never know. I mean, it all depends on who you get in the next 3 years and who you keep surrounding around, you know, those particular players like Tua and the rest of the talent that you have. You know, you got the Buffalo Bills. It took them a couple years, but if you can have a good running game, a good offensive line, and a good defense, that's really where you want to start it off at, as well as a good coach. So running game, offensive line, head coach, right, GM, O coordinator, D coordinator, defense, and then you can fill in the spots, you know, with obviously tight end, wide receiver. Quarterback's definitely important, but it's going to take time. But they're not going to be able to do it alone. And maybe Justin Herbert goes to another team after, you know, his rookie contract's up, and maybe he goes somewhere else. But I think Herbert is a guy that could get you to an AFC championship game. And if you look at all the quarterbacks and all the talent that is in the AFC, I mean, to me, talent-wise, I mean, he's like top 3. You know what I mean? You got Patrick Mahomes up there. He's phenomenal. You know, Lamar Jackson at times is good. You know what I mean? But I think if you're looking at overall talent, Josh Allen is up there, you know, talent-wise. But you could definitely go Patrick Mahomes, right? Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, just based off overall raw talent. And if Herbert played that good under horrible coaching, right, and not any type of defense, imagine when they actually have good coaching, a healthy defense, more weapons on offense. He's going to get better and better and better. And I honestly feel that Herbert is going to be the best Oregon Duck of all time. I mean, we had Dan Fouts, Haloti Ngata. We've had a lot of guys over our history. I honestly feel that he is going to be the best Oregon Duck ever. He's that fucking talented. Like I said, I watched him for 3-4 years in the front row in Eugene. I know what he's capable of. I've watched the highlights. I've watched him in person. This kid is really special, and he's going to be one of the faces of the league moving forward. He is that fucking good. What is your comparison for Sewell when it comes to current offensive tackle and the NFL? Gosh, I mean, there's, you know, you've had guys like Tyron Smith from the Cowboys and Trent Williams, and, you know, you've had so many of these excellent guys over the years that played left tackle. What I'm going to say is if Penei Sewell can stay healthy and Joe Burrow can, you know, make shit happen and not, you know, get injured, and he can keep things moving, Quentin Nelson, to me, is the best guard in football, Anthony, right? I think that Penei Sewell has a possibility of being the Quentin Nelson of the tackle position. He is that good. I mean, we're talking, if you're going to pick a tackle, top 5, you know, sometimes you get guys like Eric Fisher, you know, you get picked, you know, number 1 overall, and it just doesn't work out or pan out. But I would put him up with any of the last 15 years out of all the tackles, and this is not me necessarily just being biased, you know, because I'm an Oregon Duck, you know, fanatic, and I've seen him in person, and I know what he can do, but based off his intelligence, his footwork, his hands, and everything that he could do, I think that he could be a Pro Bowl tackle, you know, year 1 or year 2. I think that he could be a Hall of Famer, and I wouldn't say that really for anybody unless I truly believed in him. I mean, he is probably the best offensive lineman the Oregon Ducks have produced in a long, long time. You know, Kyle Long went to the Bears, was great, right? Ended up getting picked up by the Chiefs this season, but I honestly feel that this kid could be the best offensive lineman possibly the Ducks have ever had in our history, you know, from the Oregon Ducks, you know, existence from the very beginning. So, I mean, Yeah, Anthony Munoz. Absolutely. And he was on the Bengals as well. We're talking a guy like that. I mean, following in the footsteps and him being kind of Pacific Islander, Samoan. I mean, this kid is so special. I mean, like I'm saying, if I didn't need a left tackle, like if I was in the position to grab, a kid like Penei Sewell, I would grab him. I mean, this guy is going to make a huge difference for the Cincinnati Bengals. Like I said, I honestly feel Kyle Pitts has that potential. As long as he doesn't get hurt to be Hall of Fame, I have that utmost confidence in Penei Sewell in the same way that I feel about Quentin Nelson. Quentin Nelson's Hall of Fame already. I mean, I know it's early, but if you look in the last 3 seasons, I think he's given up like 3 sacks. I mean, the Colts went from one of the worst O-lines to one of the best in the last 5 years, right? And a big part of that is Quentin Nelson. And Notre Dame knows how to develop offensive linemen, but I would say that he is the Quentin Nelson of the tackle position. So if you want to put him with a Tyron Smith, Trent Williams, or any of the current left tackles that have been fantastic over the last 10 or 15 years, whether it be in the NFC or the AFC, I would put him up there with any of these guys talent-wise. I watched him at Oregon up close. I mean, this guy can pancake. This guy can pull. This guy can play left tackle or right tackle. And you know me. I'm a defensive guy. So I love linebackers. I love safeties that are hard-hitting and decleating. I love corners. I love D-ends, D-tackles, nose tackles. I love defense first. But my second favorite position besides defense is the offensive line. And like I said, this guy is going to be the real deal Holyfield, just like Justin Herbert was right out the gates. He's going to make a huge difference for the Cincinnati Bengals, because like I said, their O-line is shit. They have a lot of problems there, but if they can get that sewn up and then keep building the defense and get some more weapons around Burrow, T. Higgins had some great rapport with him. Obviously, they're going to be kind of in the mix of hopefully making a wild card in the next 3 years, but it all depends on the development of Burrow, who the head coach is, if it's Zach Taylor or not, and if they can keep getting guys like Penei Sewell. If I was the Cincinnati Bengals, I would be picking offensive line for the next 3 years, and if you can get a Penei Sewell and another Penei Sewell and another Penei Sewell and try to build a team kind of like the Cowboys O-line that we saw with Travis Frederick and Tyron Smith, back in the day, that's really going to help them and their development moving forward, and that's big facts. So let's talk some NFL, baby. Alabama and Ohio State Pro Day with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash the fucking like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either on here, patreon.com/NWSF, or the GoFundMe. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram at NW Sports Fanatics. So your boy's grinding. I'm on the grind. Like I said, we're getting closer and closer to the NFL draft. I'm so excited to be able to see what other moves are made in free agency, what other trades that are possibly going to happen when we get to that point as well. This is very, very exciting. I mean, like I said, this year especially, because obviously we know with COVID, it may not end into the end of 2022, but as long as we can keep having the NFL, it's good for our morale, it's good for our mental health, and there's so much talent that's coming out of this draft. Last year's draft as well, with Tua and Burrow and Herbert and all the amazing pieces, and there's going to be a lot of sleepers. I think, Travis Etienne from Clemson at running back and Najee Harris. That's why I'm really watching this pro day, so I can kind of evaluate even further with Justin Fields and Mac Jones. I want to be able to see more of Trey Lance. But Najee Harris and Travis Etienne, Tampa Bay is looking at running back in the first round or second round. So if I can get Travis Etienne or Najee Harris, I think I would rather go Najee Harris personally, have a little bit bigger of a body. Etienne is kind of like a Rojo, Ronald Jones, to me. Third down, change of pace back, a guy that can catch out of the backfield. But I need a guy that can take a hit and be like my top dog, my lead back. Because, Fournette's only going to be there for one more year and maybe a year-to-year contract as long as Brady's going to be there. So, yeah, I got Fournette. Yeah, I got Rojo. But if I can get Najee Harris there and I have a Najee Harris and Rojo, a 1-2 punch, sign me up. Yes, please. So, watch out. If we pick Najee Harris or Travis Etienne in that first round, I mean, I'm not saying we're going to go back-to-back and go for 2, but, I mean, getting Leonard Fournette, Rojo, and Najee Harris, I mean, or Etienne, from Clemson, I mean, having that kind of depth on the O-line and on the running back position with Brady, with all those wide receivers and the defense, and I'm bringing back all 22 guys, and if I can get some more depth at D-end, corner, and running back, I mean, for me, it's a dream come true, being a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan and having to deal with bum-ass Jameis Winston for years and years and years. And I got NFL Network on, and we're watching a little bit of the pro day here. Little Mac Jones. Love this, man. 16-1 as a starter. Like I said, I got to see Mac Jones. I got to see Justin Fields. And it sounds like Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle, the wide receivers, are not going to participate. But we're going to see Fields. We're going to see Mac Jones. And we're definitely going to see Najee Harris. And that's really what I'm here for. But I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys. Yesterday was phenomenal. Odin's Child donating, through the roof. It was just such a great opportunity. I did a 4-hour Monday morning NFL talk live stream, $65 in donations. Unbelievable. And then on top of that, making $200, over $200 in donations, and doing my MLB debut, kind of showing what my screen is going to look like, and doing MLB. And Odin's Child, he's a Chiefs fan. He doesn't even like MLB. But to get, $265, $270 in donos when there's not even a game on, that's love. So I really appreciate everyone that's in the room. I really appreciate everyone that's in the chat. Anyone that can donate, smash the like button. If you can end up sharing this on your social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, it'd be greatly appreciated, so we can add more people to the Fanatic family. Like I said, we got about 100 subs to gain to get to 20K. So hopefully once the MLB season starts on Thursday, obviously we can gain a new demographic and a new breed of fans that love the NFL and college football like you and me, but maybe some that will, hang out with your boy, and we can watch a little MLB as well. All right, so Mac Jones is up here, so I'm definitely excited to see what we're going to get here. All right, Mac Jones steps up. Little go route. Deep ball there. Incomplete. Come on, Mac Jones. So that's why I feel that Mac Jones is probably the 5th best quarterback. I definitely feel that Fields, even though Ohio State quarterbacks don't pan out, has got a lot more raw talent than Mac Jones. Trey Lance as well. Mac Jones has got to go to a team that has all the supporting cast, a great O coordinator. Like, it would have to be like the New England Patriots. I feel that that's like kind of the best fit for me. We'll have to see where he goes, but I don't think it's necessarily a fit for Tampa Bay. I don't think it's a fit for the Saints. I don't think it's a fit for the Panthers. I don't think it's a fit for Denver. I don't think it's a fit for the Niners. I mean, he's got some talent, but I don't think Mac Jones personally is a first-round quarterback. I think will get drafted first round, but he is more of a second or third round talent in my eyes. And I'm not trying to be a hater. I just don't think that, he's as good as people are making him out to be. It's just people are reaching for quarterbacks left and right. I also feel that Justin Fields isn't really worthy necessarily of a first round grade. I think he's more of like a second round quarterback. You could maybe even put Trey Lance in that category as maybe like second-round quarterback. The only first-round quarterbacks, really in my eyes, if all these other teams didn't need quarterback, is only Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence. Those are really the true number one first-round quarterbacks to me. Justin Fields, Mac Jones, and Trey Lance are late first-round, second-round kind of talent. But if they get on the right team, they could, improve. And obviously, maybe win some games, but I'm not sure if I feel comfortable, if I don't have a proper organization backing them, with Justin Fields, Mac Jones, and Trey Lance leading my team for the future. I mean, the only one I really feel comfortable with is Trey Lance, only because I think he's going to go to the Niners, and if you're with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, you're going to succeed. You know what I mean? But I just don't really feel as confident in Fields and Mac Jones. Calvin Griffin in the building. What to do, my guy? Roll Tide, baby. I'm excited, man. The reason I'm watching this, because I want to evaluate Fields and Mac Jones. I wanted to see Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle, as you're very familiar with, as you being a Saints fan and a Bama fan, right? But Najee Harris, it sounds more and more as I'm reading and watching film, Tampa Bay Buccaneers are interested in Najee Harris as well as Travis Etienne. I know we're going to go for a D-end pass rusher, possibly in the first or second round, as well as corner probably in the second or third round. But if a talent like Najee Harris is available and we can snatch him before the Steelers in the late first round, or get Travis Etienne from Clemson, who would be my second choice at running back. If we can get either one of those in the first round, I'm excited. And I personally want Najee Harris on my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because as you see, like guys like Jonathan Taylor from Wisconsin, what he is able to provide for the Colts, guys like Josh Jacobs, what he was able to provide for the Raiders. Obviously we are familiar with him with Alabama Roll Tide as well. I need that guy. I need that 3-down bell cow. Leonard Fournette's going to be there for a year. Rojo is more of a change of pace 3rd-down back in my eyes. I want Najee Harris as a 3-down back. I want him on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Nice deep ball by Mac Jones right there. Okay. But I hope everyone is having a fantastic Tuesday. Let's talk some NFL, baby. Alabama, Ohio State Pro Day, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Najee Harris, with your boy Ryan, and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash the fucking like button. Donate to your boy if you can. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, brand new 2021 hoodie available for purchase. You can holla at your boy. $34.99, NWSF for life, supporting the cause from the West Coast to the East Coast. And we're watching on NFL Network right now, Path to the Draft. It's live right now. We're doing the Pro Day. And like I said, this is very important for some of these players. And like I said, who develops players in the NFL better than Alabama and Ohio State? Nobody. There's no one in any other team. LSU gets some from time to time, right? Clemson's from time to time, USC and some of these other schools, from time to time, Oklahoma, Texas, Oregon, there's all these teams that will, get some kind of talent here and there, but year in and year out, if you're talking about guys that actually pan out in the NFL, it's Alabama and it's Ohio State. And there's so much talent there, and you don't see too many guys bust from these schools, but also these two teams, recruit better than anyone else when you got Nick Saban and you end up having the Ohio State University. It doesn't matter if Urban Meyer's there or not. They find a way. Cash out hybrid in the building. Devontae Smith is the reason why teams are looking to draft Mac Jones. Never liked him. Well, like I said, Mac Jones is kind of a product of having amazing offensive linemen, amazing, wide receivers and defense, and amazing coaching. So it's kind of like a Jimmy G concept. Right? It's like the 49ers. You have all these pieces around you. Jimmy G might not have been the most talented. He's never been top 5. He's never been top 10. He's been probably number 15 overall, or 16 out of 32 quarterbacks. Some games Jimmy G has looked like maybe top 12 quarterback, but there's been games where he's looked like, bottom low 20s. He's looked horrible. But you can hide some of the weaknesses when you have all this talent around him, as well as coaching and pretty much the best that you could offer, right? So Mac Jones is kind of like the Jimmy Garoppolo of the NFL. If he goes to the right team that has the right coaching and the right player personnel, he might be able to succeed. But if he goes to a team that doesn't have stability, like let's say Mac Jones went to the Houston Texans, and let's say that Deshaun Watson is no longer there, he's fucked. Najee Harris just out of reach. So stop comparing QBs to Jimmy G. Well, Jimmy G's got some talent. It's just that he gets injured. But you got to think it's the comparison of being a decent quarterback but having a lot of supporting cast around you, and that's really what Mac Jones is. He is the Jimmy G of college football right now. So, Mac Jones could go to the Patriots and succeed. Jimmy G could go back to the Patriots and succeed, and I think that's the only home for him. I really think that's the only home for him. Florida's pretty good consistently, too, as well. I would say that. They have athletes, and they've always had pretty good athletes. And even if guys that haven't panned out to the liking of some people, even like a Percy Harvin, some people thought that he wasn't that good. Go back and watch the tape. Tim Tebow had his moments, but if you look at linebackers and defensive players, I think that's really where Florida excels. They excel a little bit more on the defensive side, it seems, as of late. But every once in a while, you'll get guys at the skill position or maybe offensive line that can make a name for themselves as well. Pouncey Bros, on the O-line. They've had a lot of talent. Obviously, they had Hernandez. They had Tebow. Remember Cam Newton was there before he got kicked off the team and then went to Auburn. They've had a lot of talent, the University of Florida. And a big reason that I'm a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan is actually because of the Florida Gators and obviously drafting Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks from the U and Florida State University. But I was a big Danny Werfel guy. I was a big Steve Spurrier guy. Rydell Anthony, Jaquez Green, Ike Hilliard back in 95, 96. That's, a kind of one of the reasons that I fell in love, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but it was more defensive-wise. But I loved Florida football back then with the Steve Spurrier, spread them out. Spurrier offense. Okay. Mac Jones with the deep ball there. J.J. Trilla in the building. We damn boys. He said, let's talk about the Eagles and their quarterback controversy with the Flacco pickup dink and dunk. He said Hurts is going to be benched week 4. There is no quarterback controversy. Flacco is not going to be starting. Jalen Hurts is the guy. They're definitely not going to be picking another quarterback. J.J. Trilla, as we know that. They're going to be looking at probably a Devontae Smith at 12 if he's sitting there. But at the Cowboys, I'm telling you right now, you got to pick corner. I don't know if you've done your research. I imagine you have. You're a Northwest sports fanatic. You know what you're talking about. You love your Cowboys. I'm just really concerned about that defense. But you better not pick anyone besides corner in that first round. You got to pick defense. You have to pick defense. And if you guys go offense, might be a long, long year. You got to pray that team can stay healthy there. But you never know. You never know. There is potential for the Cowboys to bounce back. And obviously getting Dan Quinn, formerly of the Seahawks, D coordinator, Atlanta Falcons, head coach that didn't really pan out, but he's more suited as a D coordinator. So if anyone can get that defense somewhat back to what we remember it being, at least average, or, hopefully above average, it's going to be Dan Quinn. But you're going to have to end up picking, the proper pieces, and it might take a couple years. You're not going to just be able to outscore every team with Dak. And I'm kind of wondering how healthy he'll be when the season starts, when we get him. But I am excited to get Dak Prescott back on the field, regardless if you love the Cowboys or you hate the Cowboys. Still love watching him play. And like I said, it's kind of funny that all the Eagles fans that would talk shit and say how horrible Dak is and Carson Wentz is so much better, look in the mirror. You have Jalen Hurts, who is an exact 2.0 clone of Dak Prescott. So sometimes, you never know what you're going to get, with the teams when people would always, have that argument. So we'll have to see what happens. Calvin Griffin says Percy was a beast, but Florida State pushing out corners and safeties. Absolutely. And that's what I like seeing. The only one that didn't really pan out from Florida was probably Vernon Hargraves, right? And the one that I drafted from Tampa Bay, he didn't really pan out. But a lot of these other corners and safeties are fucking nice. Absolutely. J.J. Trilla says, I wouldn't mind taking Pitts to piss off the Eagle fans. Well, I don't think he's going to be there, bro. I don't know if Pitts is going to be there at 10, but if you did, I'm not sure the Eagles, Eagles obviously could take someone to replace Zach Ertz, and remember, they picked Dallas Goedert when you guys were looking at Dallas Goedert, so that would be a little bit of payback. But you don't need that position. You know what I mean? You got plenty of weapons with Amari Cooper. CeeDee Lamb is going to have a great breakout year. It's going to be amazing to see what he can do with Dak in a full 17-week season. I mean, we're talking over 1,000 yards, no problem. Probably pushing somewhere between 1,200 and 1,400. Right, depending on the Michael Gallup and the Cooper and the rest of the looks and Zeke and what we're getting. Probably somewhere between 7 and 11 touchdowns this next season. He could definitely get in double digits. It all depends on the rapport and if he can end up gaining more rapport week in and week out. As we get an Eagle fan in the building, Troll Patrol, and we get J.J. Trilla, a Cowboy fan. This is the favorite part of me, being a Northwest Sports Fanatics. I feel like sometimes I'm the mod, and I'm the moderator. Hearing the Dallas sucks, Eagles sucks, talk back and forth. But you know what? It's great for football, because even though I'm an NFC South guy, I love the NFC East. No cap. It might be my favorite division to watch, other than my own in the NFC South. I mean, the NFC West is fantastic. Seahawks, Niners hate each other. You got the Cardinals. You got the Rams with Stafford. That's going to be phenomenal. Love watching that division. But just the hate and the controversy and just the Washington Redskins, a.k.a. Washington football team, the New York football Giants, but specifically the Eagles and the Cowboys, love it. Every single year, it never disappoints, and that's big facts. Let's talk some NFL, baby. Alabama, Ohio State Pro Day. With your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash the fucking like button, either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either on here, patreon.com/NWSF, or the GoFundMe. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, at NW Sports Fanatics. We got NFL Pro Day. Ohio State, Justin Fields. Alabama, Mac Jones and Najee Harris. Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle are taking a breather. Doesn't look like they're going to participate. But like I said, to evaluate the number 3 pick with the San Francisco 49ers, to see Justin Fields, to see if they can sell the Niners, if they're not already sold already. But I think they already have in mind who they want. And to me, I think that's Trey Lance. I think Justin Fields is more of the popular pick because he's on Ohio State. He's a bigger name, more popular, more starts under his belt. But I think Trey Lance is the guy the Niners are going to look at. So I think with Justin Fields, I mean, that could be someone that Chicago could trade up for Mac Jones or Justin Fields. It could be someone that Denver could want to replace Drew Lock. But Drew Lock might be better than Mac Jones and Justin Fields personally. I mean, we just have to kind of wait and see, with the coaching and the other development of some of the other guys like Jerry Jeudy there. But the Panthers, to me, is the natural fit for Justin Fields. Mac Jones, late maybe. I mean, Chicago Bears, if they want to go for him and trade up and you have Mac Jones and Andy Dalton, I don't think that's going to be a fit because, like I said, you don't have good coaching there. The defense hasn't been the same, since Vic Fangio, went from, one position at the D coordinator for the Bears and now Denver's head coach. I mean, I just don't think the Bears are going to be good anytime soon. So you could put Justin Fields there, Mac Jones, or Trey Lance, and I don't think it's going to be a position there where you're going to be, looking like you have a bright future at any time sooner than later. Thank you. Oh, that's good. That's good. Thank you. All right, baby. Had to get a little bit of the fruit smoothie. I'm trying to work out. I'm trying to get the walks in. Yesterday I went for 3. Getting a 2, 3, 4 miles in. Really trying to stay committed to having good mental health. Being positive, getting some of that sun. My goal is to lose about 20 or 30 pounds. I know my face doesn't necessarily look that way. I mean, but I love food and definitely have not been taking care of myself. And I want to make sure that, my family's got diabetes, very prevalent in the family. My dad's got it. A lot of people in my family got it. My grandma died from it. So it's like, I almost know that it's going to happen. So if I can take care of myself and try to prevent it, I mean, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But if I can try to lose weight, lose about 20 or 30 pounds, start walking, start exercising, lifting weights down the road, just starting to walk and run and jog and just try to get some, cardio in. It's going to make me better mentally. And then, like I said, it's going to transition to me eating healthier, eating more fruits and vegetables instead of me eating the garbage food that I love, tacos, hamburgers, pizza, pasta, just all the carbs and all the things that I love. But it's just, I'm going to turn into a huge fat boy if I keep this up, and I want to be around for a long, long time. So definitely starting to exercise and kind of get back into that mode, which feels great. My legs hurt after, walking for more than an hour on the 3 different walks and jogs that I did yesterday. I even got the girlfriend to come with me too, because we're both on that goal, trying to lose probably like 20 pounds. Obviously with COVID, you love to eat, but it feels good. It feels good. All right, here we go. Mac Jones under center, bootleg, rolling to his left. Nice throw. Nice throw. Yeah, Dak doesn't suck. Dak has never sucked. Eagles fans, and the thing is that a message from an Eagle Troll Patrol, he knows it. Every Eagles fan knows that Dak doesn't suck. And the honest thing is, you never know. Dak Prescott might be an Eagle before his career is over. Like after his contract is up, and he's looking for that home maybe for those last few years. I mean, you never know. Donovan McNabb, going from the Eagles to the Washington football team. You just never know what team, a quarterback that's in the division, normally they get traded out of the division, but you never know. When a guy like Dak Prescott, where they say, he sucks, and then all of a sudden he's on your team and you got to root for him. And if you're actually looking at Jalen Hurts, I mean, he's kind of a poor man's Dak Prescott. He if anyone you can compare Dak Prescott to with Jalen Hurts, it's him. I mean, it's almost like staring into a mirror. Jalen Hurts probably will never be as good as Dak Prescott, but they have a lot of similarities in their game. You know what I mean? They definitely both are leaders. They are good in the pocket. They can roll outside. They can both use their legs. So it's kind of funny, to go from the Carson Wentz and now going for a guy that is literally a mirror image of the guy that Eagles fans hated and Dak Prescott. But I'm rooting for him. I mean, I have no bias. I want people to succeed. I want to see Dak Prescott, Dakota Prescott win games. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not even hating. Like, if Dak Prescott had an opportunity, if I didn't have Tom Brady, and Dak Prescott never got hurt for the rest of his career, I would take him on Tampa Bay. I think he's a winner. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys. I think that he's a winner, and he can provide a lot for a football team. And like I said, if you notice when he went down with the injury, he's well-liked in the league. You know what I mean? It's one thing if you're a Giants fan or an Eagles fan or Washington football team fan and you don't like them. I get it. It's rivalries. You get it. right? Dak is special. You know what I mean? To me, if you look at all the quarterbacks in the league, I think Dak is a top 10 quarterback in this league. I don't think he's top 5, but when he's healthy, right, I think that he could be, in the mix, at like 7, 8, 9, 10. Sometimes he plays like a top 5 quarterback. That's no cap. So Dak went 13-3, won Rookie of the Year, Rookie year, baby. Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, and you're a Cowboy fan, and obviously Cowboy fans are going to be biased. Eagles fans are going to be biased. But me, for being just a Tampa Bay Buccaneer fan, not having any bias, just looking at talent overall, I've always thought Dak was good. And think about this. People always like to compare Dak to Wentz. Wentz got picked number 2 overall. If you're Dak and you're getting picked 3rd, 4th round, Mississippi State, the expectations aren't the same. If anything, Dak Prescott has overachieved, and Carson Wentz has underachieved. Carson Wentz was great that one MVP year as well, just like Dak had a MVP-ish kind of year, right? But long-term success, we don't really know either one if they're going to be able to stay healthy. If mentally broken, Carson Wentz is going to recover with being Frank Reich and Indianapolis Colts in the future, But anyone that's like a 3rd or 4th rounder that has that chip on their shoulder, another great example is the New Orleans Saints and AK-41, Alvin Kamara. He's my favorite running back in the league. You could argue he's the best two-way running back in the league, or the best overall. Yeah, you got Derrick Henry. Yeah, you got Dalvin Cook. You got Run CMC and Zeke, and you got all these other guys. But with a guy that got picked 3rd, 4th round, type of player, a guy that, no one really thought he was going to be that good, right? AK-41 is a great example. He's just like Dak Prescott, guys that kind of get slept on because they weren't picked in the 1st round. You know what I mean, at quarterback. But it shows you don't have to be a 1st-round talent, to play like one. You can get drafted in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round and make a name for yourself if you're willing to work hard and you have the discipline and have the right coaching and the right players around you. And that's big facts. Let's talk some NFL, baby. Alabama, Ohio State Pro Day with your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash the fucking like button, either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either on here, patreon.com/NWSF, or the GoFundMe. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. You can follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, at NW Sports Fanatics. This is one of mine? Thank you. Oh, that's good. No, this one's good. Yeah, I like this one. A little protein shake. Oh, we are? Okay. I'll get more today. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Man, I need that. Trying to eat healthier. Trying to get the protein shakes and smoothies, and it's kind of a different concept for me. I'm not usually used to, eating all the fruits and the vegetables and fruit shakes and smoothies, but I feel better, after working out these last couple days, and just having a better mindset about everything. And obviously mental health is super important, as we know, moving forward. COVID had me in the bed for 3 weeks. COVID had me in the lowest spot I almost have been in my entire life, in the bed or in the bedroom for 20 hours out of 24. That's not good. Not seeing the sun, not seeing my family, not seeing my friends, barely going outside, just being fucking depressed, only getting up to go to the bathroom or eat. That's not the way to live, you know what I mean? You got to have that interaction, and obviously I'm always going to bounce back. It always takes a little bit of time, but it feels so good to be able to just to hang out with you guys, talk with you guys. And like I said, we got the NFL draft coming up. Then we're going to have combine, preseason, regular season. We're in a 17 weeks where we're going to have 17 games instead of 16. The players don't love it, but I'm going to love it. Extra material for your boy to do. I got MLB locked and loaded, so I'm super excited about that. So I'll be able to do MLB live streams for Yankees and Red Sox and Cubs and my dad's Dodgers and my Mariners. So that'll be some extra material. Maybe do some WrestleMania, maybe some AEW. So obviously it's going to be NFL 24/7, 365 in college football, but it definitely feels good. All right, Mac Jones, bootleg, floater. Nice. Nice throw. Oh, that's good. That is good.
The reason why I have Lance, Fields, Jones in that order is because, to me, I think those first two, they can beat you with their arm. In other words, when everything is condensed.
Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones. I have them in that order as well.
They can beat a defense with that.
Turn on Path Through the Draft on NFL Network, and you can see Alabama as well as Ohio State's Pro Day. I'm waiting for Najee Harris to kind of show what he can do. Let's see here. We got Trevor Lawrence, 6'5", 213. You got Zach Wilson, 6'2", 214. Trey Lance, 6'3", 224, a little bit bigger of a body, which I think the Niners love. And then Mac Jones, 6'2", 217. Man, oh, man. I can't wait. I can't wait. Go route. Nice throw. Yeah, how are you going to have Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith not help Mac Jones out? This is his pro day. If anything, he needs all the talent that he can have to be able to catch the football and run the routes. I know Najee Harris is helping him out. But Mac Jones is already slated as like the 5th best quarterback. It's not going to help his stock if you don't have all the people out there. Oh, and another fucking drop. Oh, yeah. Think the corner from Campbell will be there? Oh, yeah. Because the thing is, there's going to be a lot of pieces sitting there at around 25 through 32. But I think wide receiver, Elijah Moore, there's going to be a lot of different pieces that are going to be available. It all depends on really what you want, but I like Elijah Moore, though, man.
Devontae Smith kneeling there in the background. Najee Harris might be getting ready for this rep.
5'9", 185, but that could be huge. And it all depends on who's available, but there's going to be a steal for you guys, to line up opposite Michael Thomas, and I think I would go wide receiver. You could argue that you should have went wide receiver last year, even though you got Emmanuel Sanders. You could have had Emmanuel Sanders, Michael Thomas, and that other receiver. So then when Michael Thomas was, hurt, then you could have had Sanders and that other Justin Jefferson-ish kind of talent. Even though Ruiz and you pick offensive linemen, it's nice to have those versatile guys that can play center, guard, or tackle. And obviously Ruiz is. But this is the year. This is the year. Yep. You're on it, Calvin. But I agree with you too, man. A lot of these guys want to give credit to certain guys thinking that they're better than they really are, but I think Mac Jones is heavily overrated. Very heavily overrated. And I'm not even really that big of a fan of Justin Fields either. I think he's got some talent, but I don't know if I would, break the bank for him. Another drop. All these Alabama players are dropping all of Mac Jones's footballs. This is sad. Normally, you don't see too many drops, like maybe one in a pro day or two. I think I've seen like 4 already, and it's only been like the first, 30 minutes. Not a good look. Not a good look. Come on. Kyle Shanahan is there. Yeah, Mac Jones is not the player for them, for that type of offense. It's definitely Trey Lance. Justin Fields, I feel that has got the arm. His accuracy, at times is great. He can run the bootleg. He can run the play action. And any type of faults that he has can be hidden, based on the offensive line, the running game, Kyle Shanahan's play calling, and the defense. If Bosa is healthy, since Sherman's not going to be there anymore. But they got Fred Warner, who's arguably a top 3 linebacker in the league already, right? And you got Bosa, who's one of the best pass rushers and sack lunches. Yum, 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 all day and all night. He can do it. He can give you all the sack lunches. Nick Bosa. But, yeah, Mac Jones is not a fit. And I don't. If I was the Niners, I wouldn't do it with Justin Fields either. I really do feel that Trey Lance, if I had to put the money on it, that's what we're going to get. We're going to get Trevor Lawrence 1 to the Jags, Zach Wilson 2 to the Jets, Trey Lance 3 to the San Francisco 49ers. I would be shocked if they go Mac Jones and Justin Fields, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think Trey Lance is overrated at all either. I mean, I know he went to a small school, but just because you go to a small school doesn't mean that you can't pan out. I mean, look at guys like Josh Allen. He can pan out. From Wyoming. But I just like Trey Lance. I like his demeanor. I like his swag. I like just the way that he runs with the football. I like his accuracy. I just think that he fits the scheme the best to me. And I don't know, Justin Fields with these Ohio State quarterbacks, you can be Dwayne Haskins and throw for fucking 50 touchdowns in college, but that doesn't mean shit. He's not even an NFL legit starter. So, and these other quarterbacks had to switch positions to like wide receiver. Terrell Pryor. No, that's another one. You know what I mean? These guys just can't do it at Ohio State. But maybe Fields can prove me wrong and prove the world wrong that he is the first that can actually play QB on the NFL level from the Ohio State University. I got to see it, though. You got to show me.
You do not see at these pro days, I'll say that. Right now, you see Devontae Smith go up and get that.
Oh, Devontae Smith out there, finally. They said that he wasn't going to be available, but he's probably like, Mac Jones is doing shitty. I need to get out there and help this motherfucker out. So Mac Jones just went from first-round pick to seventh-round bust. Come on, Mac. Yeah, but definitely not a first-round talent in my eyes. Or if he's a first-round talent, late first round, like late. Just don't see it, man. I just don't see, unless you have elite coaching, elite play calling, and a team that's already built, like New England or the Niners. That's the only way I think that Jones, Fields, and Trey Lance, these guys, can succeed immediately. But if you go to a team that doesn't have that depth or coaching, you're fucked. All right, here we go. Floater. Nice catch. Cash out hybrid. You believe in who? Mac Jones?
Especially in that conference against some of the elite corners in the country, and he had his way with a bunch of them. And Stingley, who we're going to be talking about a bunch next year from LSU, did not end well for him against.
Woo! Nice catch.
Probably had some reps against Patrick Surtain every single day in practice. And the other thing, there's not a lot of surface area to press. Like it's kind of works.
Let's talk some NFL, baby. Alabama, Ohio State Pro Day. With your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash the fucking like button. Donate to your boy. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, NW Sports Fanatics. The grind to 20K is real. I'm getting closer and closer. Gonna make up some of those subs from before. Talking about Justin Fields. Yeah. But how many games of Justin Fields have you watched? You know what I mean? It's like you had a lot of supporting cast and talent on Ohio State also. But against good talent, I don't know. He doesn't really come off the page to me. I mean, you've seen Tua do his thing, right? You saw Herbert. You've seen Joe Burrow. And the thing is, the college game and the NFL game is totally different. I don't know, man. I mean, I feel like I'm one of the best evaluators of talent. You know what I mean? With all the amount of college football that I watch and the reading and the film study as well as NFL, I mean, kind of gives you a gauge on what type of player with the body size, hand size, the intelligence, the being able to be coached up. You got to have a lot. Arm strength, can he make all the NFL throws? Is he good under pressure? You know what I mean? Can he roll out and do bootlegs and play actions? It's just certain guys like really leap off the page, like Zach Wilson. Because, I mean, if we watch Mac Jones or Justin Fields or Trey Lance, they're not going to look anywhere near Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson. You need to be able to blow people off the page to be able to be like, okay, I know these guys are going to be able to, succeed. But I don't think you really get that with Fields or Mac Jones or Trey Lance. They don't really pop off on the page at all. Zach Wilson does. I mean, have you watched Zach Wilson highlights compared to Fields, Mac Jones, and Trey Lance? Cash out, I'm not sure if you have, but Zach Wilson highlights and Trevor Lawrence highlights are on a whole nother level. I mean, these guys are, we're talking about guys that could be faces of our league and then guys that are kind of just like, maybe starters. And if they fuck up, they might end up being backups for the rest of their careers. I mean, that's really how I see it. So.
I know that's where
Yeah, but also too, I mean, it all depends on how much you watch, how much you read. If you don't buy in to people on ESPN saying certain things or whatever, you got to make your own conclusions by watching the tape and reading. But I mean, for me, I feel with the thousands and thousands of hours that I put in, the only reason Mac Jones and some of these guys are even getting looked at is because the NFL is so desperate for quarterback, and because there's so many other players that are at DN, corner, safety, D tackle, O-line, right, that are so much better wide receiver than Mac Jones, Justin Fields, and Trey Lance. Like, there's just so much more talent that if we had a normal year maybe where we didn't need as many quarterbacks, there would only be 2 going in the first round. I mean, I really think that Fields, Jones, and Trey Lance normally are like second round, third round kind of guys. But teams are desperate to be able to find the next guy and mold them, hopefully, into their franchise guy. But like I said, that's just my personal take on it. Yeah, Calvin Griffin, let him know. Mac is overrated. And I wouldn't say Fields and Trey Lance are overrated. I think that they could succeed, but I know. That's my guy, man. Like I said, I got Justin Herbert, stud, going to probably be the best Oregon player ever. He's going to be doing big things. Nice. And then you got Penei Sewell, who might be the best offensive lineman we've ever had. He's going to dominate on Cincinnati, Joe Burrow's blind side. And then we get Kayvon Thibodeau come in the league. He's going to be the next Von Miller. I'm so excited. I mean, I don't know what team he's going to go to, but like I said, I would rock a jersey from any of those guys from my favorite team, the Oregon Ducks. You know what I mean? I would go buy a Kayvon Thibodeau jersey no matter where he went. Love him. Great fucking player. One of the best defensive players we've had since probably Haloti Ngata, and his great career that he had in the league, with the Ravens, getting that Super Bowl ring. I mean, we've had other guys that have had great careers like Patrick Chung and Ward, and, we've had good safeties and linebackers and D tackles and DNs, and you're getting guys, all over the league. But if the Bucks got him, I'd lose my shit. But the thing is, we're not going to be able to get him because Kayvon Thibodeau is going to be probably a top 5 pick. You know what I mean? Like, he's that talented that I'm not sure if he's going to be able to be, like, number 1 overall because, quarterbacks are so coveted. But, like, having that Jadeveon Clowney, pass rusher kind of effect, Mario Williams, when you get these guys that sometimes go number 1 overall. Kayvon Thibodeau has the talent to be, like, a number 1 overall guy. But depending on what the quarterback landscape is, he probably will go 3, 4, 5, after the quarterbacks get picked, if there's ones that are worthy. But if the quarterback class is kind of shitty and there's not a lot of, teams looking for QB towards the top, I mean, I could definitely see Kayvon Thibodeau 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, he's that talented. I definitely don't see him going any lower than top 10. He's a phenomenal talent. And like I said, we had DeForest Buckner and a lot of these other guys on the DNs and D tackles that have made names for themselves over the years as well that are fantastic. They're phenomenal, right? Eric Armstead is another one, from the Niners, DeForest Buckner, Niners to the Colts. But I think Thibodeau could even be better than them. And those guys are great. So, I mean, it really shows you that Thibodeau, and he's just got that swag about him. I mean, he's so special. So, I mean, I can't wait to see what happens. If I had a chance to coach any team in any era, ooh, that's a good question. Probably my Bucks team, that won the Super Bowl. Not this one, but going back with Tony Dungy and obviously going with John Gruden, to be able to Sapp and Brooks and Lynch and Barber, and Mike Allstott, because those are like my favorite guys that are decleaters. They're built like machines. You know what I mean? They don't take any shit from anyone. They're physical. You know what I mean? They can pick six. They can return fumbles for touchdowns. They're all around. They can get you sack lunches, especially John Lynch, Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp, and Rondé Barber. I mean, and then adding Simeon Rice. I mean, I had 5 potential Hall of Famers on defense. You don't have teams that have that kind of talent. And then on the flip side, I had a lot of good players. Brad Johnson, Michael Pittman, Joe Jurevicius, Keenan McCardell, Keyshawn. But the only true Pro Bowl amazing player was Mike Allstott, and I love Mike Allstott. I mean, he's one of my favorites of all time. I mean, he's my favorite offensive player of all time. Out of any player, I mean, I love Bo Jackson. I love Barry Sanders. I love Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, Dion on defense. Guys that aren't on my team, but Allstott, I mean, one of a kind. You may never see another one.
Try it risk-free for 100 days at Tovala.com.
The 2021 NFL Draft from Trevor Lawrence all the way down to pick number 32. Where does Justin Fields fall? We'll see his throwing.
That's a good question. That's a good question. I'm not too sure, Calvin. 40 acres and a mule in the building. What to do? So we got NFL, Alabama, and Ohio State Pro Day. With your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash the fucking like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either on here, patreon.com/NWSF, or the GoFundMe. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, at NW Sports Fanatics. So we got a little bit of the Pro Day here, watching NFL Network. Obviously, I'm going to go for my little walk and exercise. Once I get to see a little bit more of the action here, and we're getting into MLB season on Thursday for opening day, so I'll be able to do some live streams for the Yankees and the Blue Jays, which I'm excited for that, and I'm also going to do the Rockies and the Dodgers. Trying to get just, a little bit more of a fan base to come in besides just the traditional NFL that we have, and wrestling as well. If Deion didn't pick the Niners to sign with which team would he have went to? Probably Dallas. Because, when he went to, the 49ers, it's pretty much after he went from the 49ers to Dallas, whatever team had Deion was going to win the Super Bowl. I don't think really, Cash Out, you're young, so I don't know if you really got a chance to watch Deion play, live, like I did, but, when he was at Florida State, was the most dynamic defensive player we've seen, maybe ever. Especially in the secondary. He's the best secondary player ever, in my opinion. There's a lot of old school guys from the 40s, 50s, 60s, all these old school guys from back in the day. But if you're looking at overall, guys that have the talent that could pick six, could play multiple positions, special teams, wide receiver. He could play wide receiver, and he did. He could return punts and kicks. Right? What I'm saying? He's not going to decleat you or anything, but cover corner. He could get you pick sixes. He was just a very special athlete, and I don't think you've ever seen anyone like that. But Florida State, he dominated. The Falcons, he dominated, put them on the map. And then pretty much when he went to the Niners, that was my favorite Deion of all time. That San Francisco 49er Deion, look good, you play good, you feel good. Did he ever? Just the swag that he had in that Niner uniform. And then if he would have stayed on the Niners in 95, I think that they would have won the Super Bowl again. But then going to the Cowboys, who already had a stacked team, they ended up winning, 92, 93, and then 95. And then 94 was the Niners. So Woodson is underrated, but he's not Deion. Champ Bailey's, you could say, underrated too. Rod Woodson. You had a lot of guys over the years that you could kind of put in the top tier. I think everyone thinks Charles Woodson is a G. You know what I mean? He was G with the Raiders. He was a G, right, with the Packers. He's special. You know what I mean? I think Charles Woodson gets a little bit more love than Champ Bailey. And both of them are Hall of Fame, and they're great, but they're no Deion. Deion was one of those guys that he does things that you never see any other player since him do. You know what I mean? Just the speed and the intelligence, everything that he had. So, yeah, that 94 Deion, though, that's definitely my favorite. But, yeah, I think he would have went to the Cowboys. Because, the Cowboys were already rolling, 92, 93. They already won the Super Bowl. Because think about it. If Deion went to the Cowboys in 94, the Cowboys probably would have won 4 straight. You know what I mean? Because it ended up being the Niners and the Chargers. Cowboys would have beaten the brakes off the Chargers. They had Stan Humphries, Marion Butts. And it's they didn't really have the talent. Junior Seau was nice, but, they didn't really have – whoever was going to come out of the AFC, they weren't going to be the team that was going to win. So, message from an Eagle. L.A. Rams in the building. What to do? Yep, he was. He got an interception on Brad Johnson in the first quarter. Yep, but he ended up getting his Super Bowl ring with the Packers. But yeah, he was on that team. Yeah, stud, man. And I ended up watching him at Michigan too. You watch Charles Woodson, highlights. He was phenomenal. Shrikar Rajadendaran in the building. What to do, man? I'm watching NFL Network right now, NFL Pro Day for Ohio State and Alabama. Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Najee Harris, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, and a few others. Like I said, Tampa Bay is going to be looking at some of these guys, so obviously I wanted to hop on and just talk some football. You got some NFL draft questions. You got some questions or comments you want to have about your own team or anything. I did a 4-hour live stream yesterday, which was great, just being able to hang out with the fans. Obviously mental health is very important, and I was definitely at a down point, for a few weeks, but I'm back. I feel great. Exercising. I'm eating better. And like I said, I'm trying to put out as much material and content as possible. Yesterday was a phenomenal day. I think like almost $300 in donations for just doing a, morning talk football and then showing off my MLB platform and what it's going to look like, as far as the screen in the background for when the MLB season starts. So I'm super excited to be able to start doing MLB live play-by-play and reaction for MLB games, live pitch-by-pitch and reaction. It's going to be fucking fire. And like I said, there's a kind of an open market for that too. There's not a lot of people. People do NBA, right? I haven't really seen anyone do baseball or hockey, so those are kind of markets that are kind of open. But like I said, I feel with my dad's a huge Dodger fan. I'm a big Mariner fan, so I figured if I can start this, maybe just a filler, until we get back into NFL and college football season. It'll give me something else to do besides WWE, WrestleMania, AEW, and some of the other wrestling that I love. LA Rams is just chilling. Shy Ka's in the building. Really thinking Fields in San Francisco. Mac hasn't been too impressive so far in the pro day. Agreed. He looks like shit. Like I said, he's overrated. I definitely think that Trey Lance, though, is going to be to San Francisco. A lot of people think Fields is going there, but I think Trey Lance. So I might be wrong. You might be right, but that's just my gut feeling based on evaluating, watching talent, and the history of Ohio State quarterbacks not panning out, not being able, and obviously they can mask the faults that Justin Fields and Trey Lance have on the Niners just because of the talent and the Kyle Shanahan offense. But I think that if I was going to trade the farm and trade all these picks and move all the way up to number 3, I wouldn't do it for a guy like Justin Fields or Mac Jones. I feel comfortable doing it for Trey Lance because I think that, they could see the upside in him. I think his upside is higher. I think Fields and Mac Jones have kind of hit their ceiling already, right? I think Zach Wilson is going to be the best quarterback in this draft, right? I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be right there with him. So it's like if I was going to give him like a Madden grade, you know what I mean? Even though Madden doesn't know how to grade, quarterbacks. Like I would give like, and this is not going to be the number that they're going to get in Madden, but I'm just saying on a scale of like 1 to 10, 10 being like Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson, that type of quarterback, they're not going to be, that obviously right away, but like a solid, high 8, and then possibly climbing into the 9s very, very quickly and being a stud. Definitely that's where I see like, Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence, being at. With Justin Fields and Mac Jones and Trey Lance, it's going to be a little bit lower, but I think that Trey Lance has more potential, and I think he could be the 3rd best quarterback. I mean, I could see Fields and Mac Jones, getting some opportunities to start and then just being backups for the rest of their career. I just don't see them being starters long-term. And if Trey Lance was going to go to a team that's not the Niners, I could say the same thing with that too, because I think that the talent level is not the same as Zach Wilson or Trevor Lawrence. Those guys are going to pan out, I feel like Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow, right? But Fields, Mac Jones, and Trey Lance might be like Tua, where we kind of have to wait and see. The talent is there, but it all depends on coaching and supporting cast and team and things like that. So if the Bucs go back to the Super Bowl, I'm going to assume it's just going to be a blowout. Well, especially if I got all 22 starters cash out, Brady's legacy. But, I mean, I'm telling you, if I get Najee Harris, the best running back in football on Alabama in the late 1st round, it's a wrap. I mean, as long as I don't have anyone get hurt, or if I get Travis Etienne from Clemson with Leonard Fournette and Rojo, that means I'll have a 3-headed horse at running back. I got Brady, Mike Evans, Godwin, Tyler Johnson, maybe bring back AB, Gronk, OJ Howard, Cameron Brate. It's like I got 3 at every position that are studs. 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 3 tight ends, Brady, an amazing offensive line to me that's top 10 in the league. At the end of the year, they were starting to play like top 5 offensive line as a unit. And then with the defense, very underrated. The D-line is one of the best in the country, right? Linebackers, I got the 2 best linebackers on the same team in Levante David and Devin White. There is no other duo in the league better than those two. And then the secondary, which people thought was shit, and the offensive line that people thought was shit, they started to come together. Carlton Davis gets burned at times, but he's getting better and better. Sean Murphy-Bunting made a lot of plays, right? Jamel Dean at the nickel. Antoine Winfield Jr. was fantastic at safety. His dad played for the Vikings, Antoine Winfield. And Tristan Wirfs, the first rounder, from Iowa, played fantastic at right tackle. So, really the big keys for me, is Tristan Wirfs and the rest of that offensive line. Antoine Winfield Jr. on the back end, right? Devin White playing like a top 2, top 3 linebacker in the league. I'm not sure, like I said, if I've seen anyone play as good in a playoff run at linebacker since Ray Lewis. Devin White can do anything. He can intercept the football, pick up fumbles. He can hit you hard. He can decleat you. He's good in coverage. He's good at, run blocking, run stuffing. He can do everything. And it's rare. Like I said, Fred Warner from the Niners is great as well. Bobby Wagner's fantastic. Darius Leonard is amazing. But those are the top 4 linebackers in the league right now, hands down. But, I don't think I've seen anyone really take their game to the next level. But, again, the Raiders picked Cleveland Farrell, right? John Gruden and Mike Mayock, when they could have had Devin White. And it shows you how good Devin White is. If I don't have Devin White, as you can see the jersey sitting behind me right there, if I don't have Devin White, there is no fucking Super Bowl for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, and that's big facts. Shrikar says, I'm glad that you're doing better. Thank you, man. 3 weeks with heavy depression, man. 3 weeks in the bed. 3 weeks not seeing my friends or my family. Just in a horrible mind state. But now I'm working out. I'm eating better vegetables and fruits. I'm going on walks and jogs, and hopefully I can get to a point where I can run and feel okay. Because, I love to eat, pasta and tacos and burgers and pizza, and you just can't do that. My family's got a lot of diabetes in the family, so I need to really take care of my body, have a good mental mindset, and like I said, being able to hang out with y'all. I didn't work this hard to get to 20,000 subscribers or 19.9. I need to gain a few more, but selling my Michael Jordan rookie card, for the equipment, what I mean? Like, I didn't work this hard, to get to 1,000 videos, in the library, 3.3 million views, which I'm still shooting for my goal to be at 10 million sooner than later. So 10 million views. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers so I get that silver button, which is going to take a long, long time unless I go viral or I get someone to help me out or I get some kind of sponsorship. But I have goals that some people think that are crazy, but I think that over time, hitting 100K. Obviously subscribers isn't that unrealistic. Based off the fan base and based off the talent, that's on this channel, and the dedication and the passion and the fan base like you guys. You guys are the best fans on planet Earth. So if I can end up working hard and getting closer to that 10 million view mark, getting to that 100,000 mark, I'm not satisfied. I want to keep going further and further along. The ultimate goal is to get to 1 million subs, which is the ultimate. Getting to 100,000 subs is crazy, but just to keep working hard and keep grinding, and to be able to never quit and show that resiliency, and put out great content. And like I said, that's what I try to do, on every reaction video, game that I call, live stream, show, concept that I come up with. But you guys really make things go and make the wheels turn, and I appreciate you guys. And like I said, I'm never going to quit. We're at 3.3 million views plus, over 1,000 videos in the library, over 100,000 hours, invested, and I'm just getting started. So you guys are the best fans on planet Earth. I appreciate you very, very much. Trade Porn Star Jimmy. Yeah. Sam Darnold needs to go. Porn Star Jimmy needs to go. I'm not sure if they're going to have anyone that's going to want those players. Shrikar says, wouldn't mind Trey Lance, especially if we were rolling with Jimmy for this year. Give him a year to develop, and he has top 5 potential easily. It's like you almost want to cut Jimmy if you could. You know what I mean? Just like, Trey Lance and Jimmy, you could have them there, but the money that you're going to have to owe him, over $20 million, if there was a scenario, because I don't think the Patriots are going to wait for... No one wants Jimmy G, and then they'll be like, we'll offer you crackers and chips for Jimmy, and then they might be able to get him for the cheap. That's what, obviously New England's hoping for, that they can get Jimmy for nothing. And Jimmy, that's really the only landing spot that I have for him. And it's not like Jimmy G is bad. He just can't stay on the field. He's like top 15 quarterback in the league, but he just can't stay on the field. So that's the problem. So that's why you need to move on, not pay him, and go for a guy like Trey Lance. He's the guy. Trey Lance has got the potential. You get a healthy George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Nick Bosa back. Obviously you get guys like Richard Sherman, You get Richard Sherman out and some of these other guys to be able to flow into the offense and the defense. Saleh out. But I think Trey Lance is the guy. I would be shocked if they go Mac Jones or Justin Fields at number 3. I just don't feel as confident in those two as I do with Trey Lance. To me, Trey Lance is the guy that looks the best in the Niner uniform, that would be able to execute the offense the best. It's not like Justin Fields is that far back from Trey Lance, but I just think Trey Lance is a better fit. Mac Jones is just simply overrated, in my opinion. The Raiders should trade up and get Trey Lance. Not going to happen. They have so many more needs. They already got Mariota, took a huge pay cut, and they got Carr. They're going to stick with those guys for now. But yeah, that's not happening. Not happening. The Raiders, and the Raiders wouldn't be able to be that good with Trey Lance anyways because they don't have a fucking defense. They got Darren Waller, right? But the O-line isn't really that great. Defense isn't good, So I mean, he would just get killed out there. You could put anyone on the Raiders, and they're not going to do that good. Carr is the best option at this point for him, and if he gets hurt, throw in Mariota, like we saw when he came in for him against Justin Herbert and had a pretty good game. Cash Out said I would take Travis Etienne, be over Harris. Yeah, Etienne is great, man. I'm telling you, Etienne, like I said, Tampa Bay. That's my dream concept, you know what I mean? At pick number 32, I know they're going to be looking at pass rusher to kind of replace JPP. I got Ndamukong Suh short term, right? And then I got Vita Vea there. I got Shaq Barrett long term. We got Devin White. But they're looking for a DN probably to replace JPP because we're in a 3-4. We were in a 4-3, kind of like a Tampa 2, cover 2 scheme and Super Bowl 37 with, John Gruden and with like Derek Brooks and Lynch and Rondé Barber and Sapp and Simeon Rice. And then we switched to the 3-4 with this Tom Brady team. And it's really showed you that how you can execute a defense based off speed if you have the right guys like Levante David, like Devin White. But then you also have guys that can plug up the middle. I mean, think about it. With Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh, I mean, those are two of the biggest guys that are playing right now that can stuff the run. And then on top of that, you got a JPP and a Shaq Barrett that you can line up at times with 4 right up front or 3 and a guy coming up to the line. Pretty devastating because JPP and Shaq Barrett got the speed and they can get the sack lunches. Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh can push the guys backwards and pancake them. But Etienne, being able to be a good pass catcher out of the backfield. But Travis Etienne to me, though, is kind of like Rojo. He's kind of smaller, even though Rojo is kind of, bulked up, hitting the weights after he came out of USC. But I'm not sure if Etienne is like the all-around 3-down back, and then Rojo is the 3rd down, change of pace back, and then you got Fournette, you know what I mean? Because I got him for 1 year, and maybe he'll keep signing 1-year deals as long as Brady's there and we keep winning, right? But eventually Fournette's going to probably go somewhere else. It's he's only going to be there short term. So if I can get a guy like Najee Harris, a guy that can hurdle you, stiff arm you, someone that reminds me of Jonathan Taylor and Josh Jacobs from the Colts and the Raiders. That's who I want. So that way, if Rojo ends up leaving down the road, Fournette's gone, Shady McCoy's already gone, you know what I mean? Then I got a guy that could be my Josh Jacobs. I got a guy that could be my Jonathan Taylor. That's what I want. And I'm not saying that Etienne can't be that guy because I love him too. I would take either one of those guys, and I know they're going to go either pass rusher, DN in the late first round and then running back, or they're going to go running back late first round, then DN, and then they're going to be picking corner more than likely in the 3rd round, unless they see a corner in the 2nd round that's a steal. But I would assume, with Sean Murphy, Bunting, Jamel Dean, Carlton Davis, they feel pretty comfortable there. So they're probably going to go corner in that 3rd round. So I'm looking for DN, running back, or running back DN, and it just depends on who's there. And I know the Steelers are like Tampa Bay. We're looking at Najee Harris and Etienne, so it just depends on who gets who first. It all depends on that. Because, I mean, if Etienne goes to Tampa and Najee Harris is on the board in the 2nd round, man, I mean, I don't know if as long as he pans out, it is what it is. But I mean, I'm really excited about those 2 running backs. Those 2 guys should give some magic to whatever team that they go to, especially if you have good coaching, and it's going to give you good depth. And it sounds great. Fournette, Rojo, and fucking Najee Harris, Fournette, Rojo, and Etienne. Fuck out of here. I mean, it's a dream come true. We'll see if it happens. LA Rams says, I hope you feel better. I do. I feel great. I'm eating better, exercising. I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. Justin Fields now.
offense, which requires him and the wideout to be on the same page.
Definitely a lot more of a natural thrower of the football. I like him so much more than Mac Jones. I don't think necessarily Justin Fields is overrated, but let's not get it twisted. You're Dwayne Haskins. You threw for 50 fucking touchdowns in college. He's not even a fucking starter in the NFL. I mean, he's just not. You might get a chance to start some games, but just like Ohio State quarterbacks, you get guys like Terrell Pryor that had to switch to wide receiver. This might be the first one that could pan out, right? But if he's not on the Panthers or the Niners and he goes somewhere else, I'm not sure if he's going to succeed. And even if he goes to the Panthers, he may not succeed. I mean, you got Run CMC and you got Coach Rule and you got some talent there, but they don't have the same kind of consistency with talent like the Niners do based on coaching and bringing a player up. So, I like I said, I think Trey Lance to me is the fit, but the next best thing is Justin Fields. And like I said, maybe Shanahan can groom him, as the first Ohio State quarterback to really make it happen. So, RVD has just been added. I saw that to the Hall of Fame. Well-deserved. Go back and watch RVD versus Jerry Lynn. If you go back and watch matches that RVD has had back in ECW, not the WWF, WWE bullshit that they had, right? They had RVD and John Cena, if you remember that one, right? But if you go back and watch RVD versus Jerry Lynn, that's some classic matches. I think it's like Living Dangerously, RVD versus Jerry Lynn. They had a couple good matches, 20, 30-minute matches that were fucking incredible. Some of the best RVD of all time, as well as watching RVD and Sabu tag team matches together. Two of my favorites, bar none. AK-41, the best running back in the league. He's my favorite running back in the league. I'm a Bucks fan. I have no shame in saying that. He can run, he can catch, he can hit the holes. He can go through the guards, the tackles. He can take halfback tosses. He can do a reverse. He can hit you with a screen pass. He can hit you with a slant. Dalvin Cook is good. Derrick Henry's great. There's so many running backs that that have so much potential. But to me, Run CMC will come back from injury, and he's fantastic. Zeke. You have so many running backs in the league that are great. But to me, player for player, not really being injured, someone that I can count on running the football and receiving. A lot of people will say Derrick Henry, you know what I mean, just based on what he's done in the last couple years. But I think with Derrick Henry, and Dalvin Cook and some of these other guys, the only one that I think that you could really argue is maybe Derrick Henry, at this point. We'll have to see if CMC can come back because he's got the talent to be the best running back in the league. He just got injured, right? But AK-41, he's also being like a third-round draft pick. He had 6 touchdowns, and he could have probably had 7 or 8. Anthony Ramirez in the building. What do you do, man? How are you? So I'm watching the pro day. Tampa Bay is interested in Najee Harris and Travis Etienne from Clemson. So I'm looking at Mac Jones. He had his pro day. I got to watch him throw. Did not look good. Obviously, Devontae Smith, the Heisman winner, and Jalen Waddle barely participated for him. Najee Harris tried out there to help a little bit. And now we're seeing Justin Fields, who could possibly be the 3rd or 4th pick in the draft if Atlanta trades back from 4. But I really think Trey Lance will be picked from the Niners at 3 after Zach Wilson goes to the Jets and Trevor Lawrence goes 1 to the Jags. And I think Justin Fields going to the Panthers is a natural fit. If it's not the Niners, or maybe a team like Chicago Bears or Denver, someone might step up and trade up to get this guy. It's very possible. But like I said, I just don't think that if you don't have the proper play caller, elite play caller like a Sean McVay or a Kyle Shanahan, as well as a good O-line, a good organization, good defense, quarterback, you got to have a lot for Mac Jones, Justin Fields, and Trey Lance to succeed right away. And if you go to a team that doesn't have all those things, and really the only team that has it that's in the position to get them is the Niners. So, if the Niners can make Fields or Trey Lance succeed, pretty fast, I truly believe. But if you're talking about long-term, it all depends on who you feel. So, Niners could have Fields and Trey Lance could go to Carolina, or Trey Lance could go to the Niners and Justin Fields could go to the Panthers. Vice versa. We'll have to kind of wait and see. But I'm definitely very excited. I'm telling you, you'll see. Najee Harris, the thing is, the running backs are, no one really gives value to running backs anymore. All right? You know what I mean? Like, you can get a running back in the late 1st round, early 2nd round because there's offensive linemen. You got to think there's 22 starters And there's 32 teams. So there's all these positions with D tackle, DN, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, safeties, corners, nickels. So the thing is that you could be the best running back in the draft, but the need for running back, for people going in free agency, and they don't want to pay, you know what I mean? And if a guy gets hurt, they feel that instead of repaying for a guy, sometimes you get a story like Aaron Jones, who Aaron Jones, and then they'll pay the money. Right? But a lot of these teams, they're like, fuck it, I'll find another one. Because, obviously you can find running backs a lot easier than some of these other positions like D tackle, offensive line, D end. It's harder to find studs in those positions that are going to be great. With running backs, it just seems like there's more out there that you can get on the cheap, and then you can just get a new one. So even though Najee Harris is great, nice throw by Justin Fields. But Najee Harris, going to the Steelers or Tampa Bay is a possibility. That's what kind of where we're looking at. I know Tampa Bay is going to be looking at running back in the first and second round. So, and the Steelers don't have James Conner anymore, so they're going to be looking at a bigger back like a Najee Harris, in my opinion, rather than a Travis Etienne. So we'll have to kind of wait and see. You better hope that I don't get Najee Harris. We're going for 2. Because that way, if Fournette or Rojo gets hurt and I got Najee Harris, no problem. Especially with that offensive line. That'd be a dream come true for your boy. And sometimes I speak things into existence. You know what I mean? I have these visions, or I end up just thinking about something, and then all of a sudden, it just happens. So, you never know. All right, Fields. Shotgun set. Fade route. Nice. He looks so much better than Mac Jones already. But like I said, Mac Jones isn't really a natural thrower of the football like Fields and Trey Lance. Or Zach Wilson or Trevor Lawrence. It's like Mac Jones is like a 7. Justin Fields and Trey Lance are like 8.5. And Zach Wilson and, Trevor Lawrence are like 9.5s. Like if you're like looking at the scale, of how the quarterbacks look, based off the throws that they can make. And Trey Lance and Justin Fields can make some of the throws that Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence make on the regular. Hey, I got to be realistic, my guy. You don't want to invest your future in a guy that's not going to be able to get it done. Oh, my. What a grab. Way to make your fucking quarterback look good there. He definitely overthrew that football. Great fucking grab. Great grab. Because like I said, if you can make the grabs, that maybe the throw isn't perfect, you know what I mean? And it just makes your quarterback look better. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to see any incompletions on your pro day. But I almost guarantee 100% it's going to be Trey Lance, Justin Fields on the Niners. Period. Mac Jones is not in the question. I mean, could you imagine at number 2 if Trey Lance or Justin Fields goes to 2 to New York and the Niners end up getting Zach Wilson? That might end up being like the best case scenario. I'm not sure if that scenario would happen, but could you imagine if Trevor Lawrence goes 1 to the Jags and then all of a sudden the Jets are up and you're thinking it's Zach Wilson and they go Justin Fields? At that point, even if they're in love with Trey Lance, you probably would be like, all right, we got to take Zach Wilson now. Yeah. If or Trey Lance went 2 and then Zach went 3. I mean, if Zach Wilson ends up on the Niners, see, I know, man. If Zach Wilson goes to 3 to the Niners, I mean, watch out. I mean, they could probably make an NFC Championship game year 1 based off all that talent, like no cap. Same. I mean, obviously you could say the same thing for Trevor Lawrence also. But he ain't going to go to the 49ers. I mean, he's getting picked number 1 overall. It's like when we thought Sam Darnold was going to go number 1, right, to the Browns, and they surprised all of us and went Baker Mayfield. So you never know. You never know. It all depends on who they fall in love with. Yeah, I'm not really sold on Trevor Lawrence either. I'm not sold on Mac Jones. I'm not sold on Justin Fields. But I'm closer with Justin Fields, than I am with some of the other guys. But like Trevor Lawrence, I'm sold on, being a good quarterback. But can he be a great quarterback? I mean, there is a chance Not necessarily of him being a bust, but maybe not living up to the expectations that we have as a number 1 pick. Will he be as good as like an an Andrew Luck or a Peyton Manning? I don't know. You know what I mean? But I do love Zach Wilson. Like, he's the guy to me that hands down, he's going to be in the hardest position, but he's got that chip on his shoulder, and the throws that he makes, if he can put the Jets on the map and make them actually a kind of a watchable team, that's great for the NFL. I mean, can you imagine? Like, okay, I want to watch the Jets. Like, you know, if he's like the next Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers talent, and he can get the Jets to 10 wins, you know, sooner than later, and we could actually enjoy watching Jet football, how great would that be? You know what I mean? Even if you don't give a shit about the Jets, but just seeing a guy, you know, put a team on his back like Burrow and the Bengals or Herbert and the Chargers, you know, that's great to see, you know, these next, you know, generation of superstars. Anthony Ramirez. I mean, the thing is with you guys, you know, the defense is an interesting thing. You know, obviously with some of the guys moving on, you know what I mean? You still got Darren Waller there. Mariota took the pay cut. Carr is there, so you're not going to get anyone better than those guys in the position. So I love Josh Jacobs. So, I mean, you got your skill player positions pretty much set there. It's just really on defense. You know what I mean? We got to be able to keep your guys healthy, you know, with the Cleveland Farrells, you know, your Jonathan Abram on the back end at safety. It's going to be interesting. What do you think about it? Because like I said, I don't think the Raiders are that far behind. They were in the running, you know, for making a little bit of a playoff run, and they kind of hit a skid at the end. And the biggest MVP of your season last year was Nelson Aguilar. And he's no longer there. So you're going to have to find a replacement there, even though you got guys there now that could step up their game. But let's not deny the fact that Nelson Aguilar had a comeback player of the year kind of season. You know, Alex Smith and some of these other guys came back. I get it. But, I mean, talking about a guy that would drop the football left and right and Eagles fans just disowned him, I was just super excited watching Nelson Aguilar do his thing and really make a name for himself again. I don't know if he hit the jug machine or what it was, but, I mean, with the players that you have on your roster, he was really the most consistent player that you had besides Darren Waller, you know, catching the football last season. You know, you had Josh Jacobs run the rock, but besides Darren Waller, I mean, he was the fucking man. And you could argue maybe even more consistent than Darren Waller game in and game out. I mean, there was games where Waller just balled out and was, you know, obviously top 3 tight end in the league, in my opinion. Top 3, top 4 with Mark Andrews and him, right behind George Kittle and Travis Kelce. So since Kittle was hurt, you could say, yeah, hey, Darren Waller was a top 3 tight end last season. He was fantastic. So you guys got to go for defense. You got to keep picking, you know, the right players and hope they develop. You got Gruden, you got Mayock, but you're in there with the Chiefs. You got Justin Herbert, obviously doing big things. I'm not sold on Denver. I think you guys are kind of on pace with them. You guys are a little bit better. I think Denver's kind of the worst team in the AFC West. Chiefs are at the top, and then it's you and Chargers are kind of battling for that number 2 spot. But you're never going to be able to get over the hump unless you address the defense. And the offensive line needs to get better as well, as you already know. You know your team. They got a lot of potential, right? But like I said, you can't fizzle out towards the end, so you're going to need better players. Well, we don't know. We don't know. I mean, you got Robert Saleh cash out. You know what I mean? They need better players than like Jamison Crowder. But like I said, you know, if you can bring players around, and they did pick up, I believe, Corey Davis from the Tennessee Titans. So if you have Crowder on one side and then Corey Davis on the other, Corey Davis can get you 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. Jamison Crowder can get you 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. So it's not impossible to think that they're going to be like horrible. I mean, everyone assumes that they're just going to win a couple games. But if Zach Wilson ends up being, you know, like a Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, you know, 2.0, 3.0, and can maybe steal a couple games, you know, that you don't think that he's going to be able to win you, and he just really balls out and shows that he is the number 1 pick in the draft, even though he got picked number 2, is it that crazy to think that the Jets could win 6 to 8 games year 1? No. You know what I mean? It's definitely possible. They're not going to win just like 1 or 2 games with Zach Wilson. I mean, this guy's got the strongest arm in the draft. He's got Josh, you know, he's got kind of like a Josh Allen arm. Maybe not as strong as Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, but he's up there. I mean, he's got an arm. He can make some amazing throws. So don't be surprised if the Jets, you know, I'm not saying they're going to go to the playoffs or hit a wild card in the next couple years, but, you know, depending on year 2, year 3, if they can end up drafting a couple more guys, get some free agents to play with him, I mean, I wouldn't be that shocking for me for the Jets to hit, maybe 8, 9, 10 wins in a couple years. And that's big facts.
Kind of bugs me a little bit with players.
Troll Patrol, my boy.
None of these Ohio State quarterbacks are any good. So
If Ohio State had Zach Wilson, they would have beat Bama in the game. Ooh, I don't know about that, but the game would have been a lot closer. Zach Wilson is the most accurate quarterback out of all these guys. He's the most accurate on deep throws than all these guys. He's got the best arm out of all these guys. He's got the intelligence. He's got everything that you would want. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence, it gets all the hype. Justin Fields gets the hype because you're on Clemson and Ohio State. But, like I said, I think Zach Wilson, by far, to me, is the best quarterback. And even if they had Zach Wilson, you're not beating Alabama. You're not beating Najee Harris and all those NFL players that they had, Patrick Surtain, the second, and everyone they had. You weren't beating Bama last year. That Bama team rolled on everyone last season. You just weren't going to beat that team. He went to BYU. So kind of a small school. The last time BYU had a real big stud was Ty Detmer back when I was a kid, right? He never really panned out in the NFL. But like I said, just because you go to a small school like Wyoming, like Josh Allen, that doesn't mean that you can't pan out. But you got to have the right pieces around you. If Josh Allen would have went to the Jets, he would be in the same boat as Sam Darnold. Pretty good, but, making a lot of mistakes because you don't got the talent. People fail to realize, Josh Allen is so good, he's so good. Well, he was good because you had a good defense already there, a good head coach, you had wide receivers, you had O-line. You already had a lot of the pieces there to be a good football team. You just needed to add him. And even when he got in there initially, his completion percentage was the worst between Baker and Lamar and Darnold. His completion percentage was shit. And then you got Stephon Diggs, and then now he took that huge jump because you have a true number one receiver. So
make this throw going to his left. It's fun. Enjoy it.
Cash Out, look it up. Look it up and copy in the chat what it is. Let everybody know. Aguilar, hot, sticky hands in that Nevada heat. Philly too cold for him, literally. But you got to admit, though, Troll Patrol, message from an Eagle, my boy, right? You had to have been shocked at how good Aguilar played. I mean, he made Carr look great. I mean, there were so many amazing throws on third down that he converted. There were so many great throws that, he made into touchdowns last season. If you had him in fantasy, you were probably winning games. I mean, he was fantastic last season. Let's not deny it. I mean, Aguilar, to me, out of all the wide receivers in the league, he had top 12 stats, game in and game out. He was very consistent. Out of all the wide receivers in the league, he was great. I was rooting for him. You know what I mean? Anyone that gets hated on and shit on, right? And gets booed out of a place, and then they come back and they play like that. Not only is that good for his mental, but for him in his next job and his next home, wherever it may be. And I was so proud of seeing guys like that not give up, on themselves. And I knew he had talent. I watched him at USC. I know he's got talent, you know what I mean? But he put in a lot of work, you can tell. Put in a lot of fucking work. Jets will win Super Bowl 68. Oh, man. Game winner 31 in the building. What'd it do? Cash Out hybrid. Where is Zach Wilson from? Where is his hometown? He went to school at BYU, but you want to know where he's from. Where is he from? Cash Out, let him know. Draper in Utah. So, yeah. So some kind of small area, you know what I mean? But like I said, it doesn't really matter where someone is from necessarily, what school they go to. For me, when I evaluate a quarterback, I evaluate the intelligence, right? The footwork, the hand size. I look at the route running, of the wide receivers and the chemistry that he has with his teammates. Is he a leader? Can he make all the throws? Is he good under pressure? Is he good against good defenses? You know what I mean? Can he run bootleg? Can he run play action? Can he go to the right? Can he go to the left? Is he coachable? You know what I mean? I look at things just like a talent evaluator or a scout would look like, or a coach would look like. You know what I mean? Can he make all the throws? You know what I mean? Under pressure. A 5-yard out, a 5-yard in, a slant, a go route, a post route, a fade route. Can I see him make all the throws? You know what I mean? How tall is he? Does he have the intangibles? You know what I mean? You got to be able to look at all those things. But like I said, the only ones that I'm really impressed with in this draft is Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. That's it. But I like Zach Wilson by far the best. By far the best. I have no, doubts that he's going to succeed, even though it'll take him a little bit longer. Just because he's going to be on the shittiest situation. The Jets are a shitty situation, but they got Saleh there so they can turn it around, right? But the Jags, not that bad of a situation, you know what I mean, based off where they're sitting, right? Niners, great situation, still in that Super Bowl window, right? And then, with the Panthers, not that bad of a situation. Bears, I wouldn't want to go there. I wouldn't want to go to the Texans, the Bears, or Denver, you know what I mean? Or, if Mac Jones ends up on New England, good situation for him, you know what I mean? But that might be just like a Jarrett Stidham 2.0 where it just doesn't work out. You might be better off with Jimmy G and porn star Jimmy. So, but like I said, Trevor, I think, will pan out. He's got the intangibles. He's got Urban Meyer. You got Shark. You got good weapons at running back. Wide receiver, you're going to be able to get better, on defense as well as the years go along. Like remember when Blake Bortles led a team against New England in the AFC Championship game, but then he just kept losing all of their guys, Ramsey and everyone else, Calais Campbell. So it's going to take a long time for them to rebuild, but people will want to play with Trevor. People are going to want to play with Urban Meyer. But Zach Wilson is going to be like the Justin Herbert, the Joe Burrow. You know what I mean? So it's like, Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence, that's kind of the equivalent, you know what I mean? And I think Zach Wilson is the Justin Herbert. So, who do you want? You know what I mean? Do you want Zach Wilson, a.k.a. Justin Herbert? Do you like that type of player, right? Where they have the natural talent? Or do you want the safe pick, the Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence? Because that's what you're going to get. Joe Burrow is Trevor Lawrence. You're going to get some good play. That, maybe, he gives you something that you see that you like. Maybe some games, holds onto the football a little too long and makes some mistakes, interceptions, bad reading of certain play calls. Or you can get a Justin Herbert, that might be more NFL ready based off body size, arm strength, being able to make the throws. That's kind of the comparison that I see. Zach Wilson is going to be more NFL ready like Justin Herbert was rather than Joe Burrow, even though he won the championship and the Natty and that LSU team was phenomenal, right? But that's kind of the comparison I see. Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, same, right? Good players, could be Pro Bowl players one day, right? But Zach Wilson, Justin Herbert, these guys could take their game above those guys. I think Justin Herbert and Zach Wilson could be better than Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow. And that's a compliment because Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow could be Pro Bowl guys. They could be Hall of Fame guys, maybe. You never know. It all depends on Joe Burrow's health and how Trevor Lawrence progresses, right? But I think Justin Herbert, if he keeps playing the way that he played in his rookie season, he could be a Hall of Fame kind of player. He's going to be the Oregon's best player ever, in my opinion. I think that out of any position that Oregon has ever had, ever, Dan Fouts, we used to have him, Haloti Ngata. We've had great players over the years. Based on what I saw last season, as long as they keep surrounding him with talent and have better coaching, he could be something really, really special, and it wouldn't surprise me if you hear Justin Herbert's name as top 5 quarterback in the league, like number 5 quarterback, and trying to move up the list. So, yeah, I think Lawrence is overhyped. Mac Jones is overhyped. Justin Fields and Trey Lance are kind of what we think they are, you know what I mean? But I think Zach Wilson is the best, and like I said, that's just me, with my knowledge, with my tape, and what I see, you know what I mean? Like I said, I watched Justin Herbert in person. I knew that he was going to be a good player. It all depends on where he goes. And some of these guys, it doesn't matter where you go, because if Justin Herbert went to the Dolphins, you would have got the same kind of results, except you would have went to the playoffs year 1 with the Dolphins because they almost made it. And you would have made it with Justin Herbert quarterbacking. Believe that. And I know they're probably going to regret that for the rest of their lives. You know what I mean? It's like we going for Sam Bowie instead of Michael Jordan. Us going for Greg Oden instead of Kevin fucking Durant. Them picking Tua over Herbert. You know?
Number 8 overall player in this class. Brett Lewis, Daniel Jeremiah back here with you on NFL Network. What a phenomenal workout that was. Again, we saw
yeah, great workout by Justin Fields. So much better than Mac Jones. So more consistent. But I still don't think that Fields is the guy, but who knows? But like I said, it's going to be Fields or Trey Lance, one or the other. One or the other. Who will win an MVP first? Out of what? Trevor Lawrence, out of the quarterbacks in this draft, or also including Tua, Justin Herbert, and Joe Burrow? Because I think if you include all these guys, I think Herbert is easily the selection. You know what I mean? Because he's already a top 10 quarterback already, in my opinion. And then I think based on how you watch, he could definitely end up being top 5. You know, you're getting some of these older guys that are going to be retiring soon. You know, obviously you have the Mahomes and the Josh Allens and these other guys, but I mean, if you look at the stats and what he does under pressure, no one does better under pressure than Justin Herbert besides maybe Mahomes. But there was some even, the thing is you can't have Zach Wilson win an MVP on a team like the Jets. You know what I mean? That would mean that the Jets are going like 13-3. You know what I mean? And he's in AFC championship games, and you know what I mean? It's going to take time. They have nowhere near the talent than the Chargers do. You know what I mean? So Zach Wilson's got the talent, and he could be maybe one day in that consideration, but we got to be able to see what he can do on the field first. Justin Herbert's already proved it. You know what I mean? These other guys haven't done it yet, so we got to see him play in NFL action. But I'm telling you, Zach Wilson is special. He is special. That's big facts.
That's becoming more complete after today's workout with Fields leaves him in the landscape of this new crazy drama that we've seen at the top of the first round.
This is weird. YouTube always sends me these things, like copyright claims. Like they just sent me one from the Steelers and the Lions reaction video from week 8 of last season. Why are you sending this to me? Like, you know what I mean? That was so old. Like, why is there a reason that you're sending this to me? I have no idea. It's just crazy. It's like I'm not making any money off of it. You know, it's like I'm not monetizing it because it has NFL highlights in it. All right, more context. Let's go, baby. Path to the draft, baby. Let's talk some NFL, baby. Alabama, Ohio State, Pro Day, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash the fucking like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either on here, patreon.com/NWSF, or the GoFundMe. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, at NW Sports Fanatics. So we're just watching NFL Network. Normally I'm watching the Pat McAfee show from 9 to noon, but at this point, you know, with the Pro Day, I wanted to kind of take a look at Mac Jones and Justin Fields, you know, live just to see what's going on. And it pretty much kind of confirmed what I was thinking. Mac Jones is not really a first-round pick. I mean, he'll get picked somewhere in the middle to late first round. He's definitely a developmental quarterback. But Justin Fields looks like he's going to be, you know, a top 5 quarterback, top 10 quarterback. It just depends if he goes to 3 to the Niners or maybe 8 to the Panthers, unless someone trades up and really wants him. So we're going to have to wait and see. Fields would look great in a Niner uniform. Trey Lance would look great in a Niner uniform. So that's where I'm kind of thinking that it's going to go. Alabama, Ohio State Pro Day with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash the fucking like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, either on here, patreon.com/NWSF, or the GoFundMe. And if you're looking for merch, Northwest Sports Fanatic merch, link is below every video on the YouTube page. Follow me, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, at NW Sports Fanatics. So I've gone on for about 2 hours now. So if there's any other like kind of last minute questions or anything that you have, hop online and let me know. And then I'll probably take a break, and then maybe I'll hop online a little bit later. You know, your boy is always grinding. I want to go for a little walk or jog, get the blood flowing and get some exercise in. The day is nice here in Oregon. It's sunny. Weather is great. We're just transitioning into spring. Pretty much got to see everything I needed to see with Mac Jones and Justin Fields. I hope you guys are having a great day. And like I said, your boy's grinding. I got opening day, which is going to be on Thursday. So I'm still going to be doing some more live streams for NFL. Maybe I'll do some reaction videos, you know, based on some of the college football stars, Zach Wilson, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Trey Lance. I might be able to do some of those. Or just hop on and we can just talk NFL. But if there's any last minute comments, questions, anything that you have based on what I've seen in the Pro Day. I did want to see Najee Harris. I'm not sure if that's coming up later, because that's kind of the reason why I wanted to do the live stream, is to see, you know, him, you know, run his routes and do his thing. But we already saw what he did at the Natty, and we saw what he did all year long. I mean, what a fucking stud. What a fucking beast. And I know Tampa Bay is going to be looking at him. Trevor Lawrence. Justin Fields. NFL Network is just... It's just so great. It's like if you don't have NFL Network, you're definitely missing out. All right, I'm going to take a quick more peek here once it comes back from commercial. See if there's anything else that they're going to be touching on here.
Everyone's watching, and NFL Network is here for Pro Days over 90 schools all month long on NFL Network.
Yeah, and it's kind of rare to have Alabama and Ohio State at the same time. Lawrence, Fields, Belichick, and Salah. The Jets going to mess it up. Zach Wilson. Well, the only way Zach Wilson is going to go to the Niners if they don't, I mean, that's the best case scenario for any quarterback is going to the Niners, including Trevor Lawrence. But obviously we know that's not an option just because they already have a great play caller and head coach in Kyle Shanahan. Because to me, out of all the play callers in the league, Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay are two of the top three in the whole entire league. So if you get someone that Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, you got weapons there at running back, and you got a good O-line, and you got, Trent Williams re-signed, McGlinchey's there from Notre Dame. And the defense is good. You got Fred Warner, you got Eric Armstead. You got Bosa. You really got everything that you would want. You're going to have to compete with Seattle and Russell Wilson. You're going to have to compete with Kyler Murray, adding J.J. Watt to the team, Stafford and the Rams. It's going to be the most competitive division in football next year, where all the teams are going to be probably shooting for 8 wins or more. At the worst, you're probably going to be sitting at 8 wins out of all these teams. If we're going to, 17 games, 8 and 9, it might be the worst record you have in the NFC West. And you're not going to be able to say that for any other team in the division. All right, here we go, Najee Harris. All right, so I got to stay on here a little bit longer. So I'm seeing him do some of these drills here. He's great, man. Give him on Tampa Bay. I need my Jonathan Taylor. I need my Josh Jacobs. Give me Najee Harris at number 32 in the first round, the last pick in the first round. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at selection number 32 in the 2021 NFL Draft select Najee Harris, running back, Alabama. No, AB hasn't signed yet, but we don't need to rush to have him sign at all. We can get him for potato chips, because he's not going to want to play for anyone else, and he's a little older. He's 32, 33 years old, But I already signed all my starters, all 22. And if I have Godwin and I have Mike Evans, I can run with Tyler Johnson. He's from Minnesota. He could be my number 3 guy, I got a lot of options. I got Scotty Miller, who's the true number 3. And Tyler Johnson's number 4. But Scotty Miller also proved in, the NFC Championship game and a lot of other games, he can make the catches. He can run the routes. He's kind of like a prototypical, Caucasian white wide receiver that New England would love, like a Wes Welker, like a Julian Edelman kind of guy. And that's why Brady, has that connection with him. Very crafty, Scotty Miller. So I'm fine. If AB doesn't come, I can still win the Super Bowl without him. I can still get to the Super Bowl. I can still get to the playoffs. I can still get to the NFC Championship game. On paper, it looks like, the NFC South is going to be running through Tampa. But not only that, the NFC is going to be running through Tampa as long as I don't have any injuries. The Rams on paper look they might be good. Seattle, Arizona, Niners, depending on who they get. We got the Packers, right? You got the Washington football team. But I don't think anyone's going to be on the Tampa Bay level, especially when we're bringing back everybody. Shaq Barrett, JPP, Sue, Vita Vea, Devin White, Levante, everyone on the defense. And we saw what that defense did to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. That's big facts. All right, so it looks like I got to see a little bit of highlights there of Najee Harris, but I'm going to take a quick break, like I said, so that way I can get my exercise in. I appreciate every single one of y'all, Cash Out Hybrid and everyone else in the building. Sean Murphy Bunting, I love him, man. He's a stud. He is a fucking stud. Carlton Davis, Sean Murphy Bunting, Jamel Dean, Antoine Winfield Jr. It was funny because all these fucking haters were saying how shitty my O-line and secondary were, and those were two of the strengths of the team to help me win the Super Bowl. Go figure, huh? But I know my football team. A lot of people are just hating, like they hate on Brady, but it is what it is. But I appreciate every single one of y'all, Cash Out Hybrid in the building and everyone else. I'll be back online more than likely later on today in a couple hours. Just going to go work out for a couple hours and get a good sweat in, and then I'll hop on if there's any stories that break, and then maybe do a reaction video here and there. So stay tuned. And then I'll be back in the morning, more than likely tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we got opening day, which I'll be doing some baseball games starting at 10 a.m., and 1, where I'll end up doing the Blue Jays and the Yankees at like 10 o'clock on Thursday morning, Pacific time. And then at 1 o'clock Pacific time, I'm going to do the Rockies and Dodgers for my dad because he's a big Dodger fan. So I'll be very busy the rest of the week. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Cash Out Hybrid, you're the best, my guy. I appreciate the support and the love. And obviously, always keeping tabs with your boy. I appreciate you very, very much, and everyone else in the building. Have a good rest of your day. I'll be back probably in a couple hours. And I got one question for you. Well, talk sports like us. Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. And I'm out. Peace.